All right. Welcome to this special episode of the Xbox 2. And yes, I know there was no sound for the trailer because unfortunately the last 7 episodes of the show, the trailer music for the wonderful collection of images that Sean Labrie put together has been getting claimed by the service, even though we have a license to actually use it. And I hate dealing with copyright claims, and so I decided to mute the music for the trailer just this one time because I don't want to have to deal with the copyright claim after this episode is over. And they're supposed to clear those right away, but lately they've been taking 2 to 3 weeks to clear it. So I'm just like, you know what? No, no music on this one. But as you can tell, Jez is not here. I am the host of the show, Randall Thor 19, the man with a million. Jez is in Poland right now doing a studio visit, so he obviously couldn't join us, and we didn't want to do the show. I don't think he's going to be home all weekend, but I do have some guests. One of them is here right now. Another one will be coming in probably about 15 minutes or so, and I don't know. We'll have a nice conversation about some stuff, and maybe other people join. Who knows what's going to happen, but with me I have one of my best friends. We have Colt freaking Eastwood is here in the world of Xbox 2 and the Xbox 2 community. Thank you, Colt. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, the actual proper co-host of Xbox 2.
Yes.
The Rand and Colt Power Hour.
The podcast we have been talking about making for years. The Rand and Colt and the third person Power Hour that we always joked about doing at some point.
Our actual dream, yeah. I mean, when we were on the phone, we get in conference calls, guys, on WhatsApp or on the phone, and we do a mini podcast, and there's no one listening but us. But yes. Yeah, we talk the business, we talk our feelings about what's going on in the news and how we feel and what we think's going to happen, and then we're like, this will make a good podcast, and it never happens.
Mm. Yeah, I know.
What's up, Diz?
Me and you talk literally every day, and our conversations could be podcast, so it's kind of funny.
Except for the classified, stuff we share sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
the classified top secret things that you can't talk about. So yeah, it's
Call
gonna be
of Duty
fun.
coming to Game Pass and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is this? April? No, this is not April. This is May 17th. This is episode 316. And I don't know, how's your week been? I know it's you got a lot going on. You got the kiddies, you got the wife, you got FanFest. How'd the FanFest stuff go this year? Loki and Copper. How'd the FanFest stuff go?
Well, it's kind of weird this year, right? It seems like they've really pared it back due to financial responsibilities, or maybe an outward look of how they should be financially, knowing that they've laid off a couple thousand people, closed studios. So I guess they made the call to, kind of pare back that celebration with the fans. That's my opinion. Still sounds like it's going to be really, really great. A lot of my close friends are going to be there. And there's a whole thing. We've got great seats for Summer Games Fest, the Jeff Keighley show. I bought tickets to go see IGN Live so we can see Ryan McCaffrey just absolutely grill Phil Spencer for the shortcomings. Yeah, it should be a pretty good week. I'm excited, but when you asked me about this week, I'm really, we were able to say that we were reviewing a game, and
yes,
it's always a good opportunity and to have that privilege and to play something, early, and that's always been a cool thing that we could do. I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yes. So if you didn't see any of our posts on Twitter, the game that I'm currently playing is Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
You said it right.
Yeah, I know. Most people just refer to it to Hellblade 2, but the actual title is Senua's Saga : Hellblade 2. So that is, I'm playing that. You're playing that.
: apostrophe.
Hashtag gift from Xbox, because they were kind enough to send over a review code. But that's it. Can't say anything else. Can't say anything about the game.
Can I say that it's kind of funny that we have to say gift from Xbox when these games that we get to review from Xbox end up coming to Game Pass? They sort of feel essentially free, which we'll talk about later in the show when we talk about like the Game Pass value and stuff. But yeah, but thankful that they do that. It's really, really cool opportunity.
Yeah. So, you're not going to get any leaks from me and Colt about how we feel about the game or whatever. So
just give us a number, Rand. Just blink.
Just
how many
tell
numbers
us
you're
already.
give
Just
it.
you know what? Just screw any sort of embargoes and relationships you have with any of these people, and just tell them,
barring any
tell them all
lawsuits.
about it. So
Yeah.
we're
Super happy that we get to do these things from time to time. So yeah, except when it's Redfall, right, Rand?
Well, I mean, yeah, the Redfall, man. That you really took that one on the chin, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean that was a preview. Everybody else had a really, really positive preview. I just had the most popular one. Like Mark C's like Colt won't be honest anyway. It's funny, Rand. You've watched what have I done? I've done like 6 or 7 reviews on my channel, and I'm always like 5 points away from Metacritic.
Yeah.
Like my worst one, if you want to call it worst, would be Crackdown 3. I gave it a 78, and it's actually a 60. That's probably my furthest one from Metacritic. You and I gave Infinite like a 9. It's an 85, right? Or something like that? 86?
Yeah, I think it was like mid 80s or high, like low 9. But yeah, it's like an 87.
And like Gears 5, I gave a 9, and it's an 85. It's like pretty close. Redfall I ended up giving a 65, and what we looked at it yesterday, it's like a 57. So yeah, I'll be as honest as possible. But
Redfall's one of those games, and you know me. I start a game, I finish a game, right? Redfall is one of the very few games that I played and basically stopped playing after 5 hours and deleted. So
that is rare. Like we talk about this a lot. You drive me crazy. You're such a stickler, and you're so stubborn as an old man as you become an old man in these years. But you will not. You always tell me if you load up a game, you will not load it up unless you're all in, and you'll gritting as many achievements as you can. And you didn't even finish Redfall, and I did. I changed it to easy halfway through and just got it over with. Yeah,
yes,
sucks.
We got the one and only Fonz Gaming in chat. I see him here, and a whole bunch of great people like Pushing Polygons and John Wolf and everybody in chat. Hasdor is here as well. Brett Bingham. Tom Warren is in the chat. Usually Tom Henderson probably came in, saw that Jez wasn't here, and was like, "Damn it, I can't write an article about something that Jez says." So Tom Henderson probably took off. But Tom Warren is here. So that's.
I want to hang out with Tom Warren one of these days.
Yeah, I wonder.
Tom, are you gonna go
Tom,
to the showcase?
You think Tom's gonna fly? I assume Tom lives in the UK, but maybe he doesn't. You think Tom
does.
is gonna?
He
gonna
announced
be
he
at
was
the
going
showcase?
to a Microsoft event. Right, he posted a picture of his passport, and he's got the ROG Ally ready to go, which is my like go-to airplane entertainment now. So yeah, Tom, let's hang out in LA. Come to LA.
Yeah, Wagerman's here. One Bad Mother's here. So, and for those of you just tuning in, I know the podcast just started. If you're wondering where Jez is, he has not transformed into Colt Eastwood. Jez is in Poland right now, visiting a studio. So I can't say what studio. I don't know, or
Google's
do I know?
all Poland studios.
Yeah, he's getting hands on with some stuff. I believe. So yeah, he's not going to be here this week. He's away on studio mission or whatever the heck it is. I mean, just because Jez was in chat an hour ago, I mean, he can obviously use the internet from where he's at. So yeah, Jez is elsewhere. It's a pretty good segue. But before we get into that, I do have some housekeeping I need to take care of, and I need to give a shout out to all the wonderful Patreons who support us on XB2, the podcast, and all the extra stuff we do. I don't have access to the Patreon. Jez has like full control, so I couldn't update the Patreon lists or any of that stuff. But Jez did, before he left, leave a question and answer thread. So if any of the patrons didn't see that, make sure you go over there, drop a question. We'll definitely answer those towards the end. But we do have some shout outs to get to. We got Xbox Dave, Just James 93, Jay Peltier, Christian the Password, Book and Beard, Holy Dark Death, Steve Stompy, James Wiseau, Trickster for Trey, Battered Haddock, Army Dude 52C, Ryan Kipp, Before an Object, Mythic Marty, Moronic Donkey 99, Randall Thor 19, Silas, Eric Gregory, James Moore. Yes, Colt, I am a member of my own Patreon. Fantasticals, Halo is the GOAT, Katriox, Bright Tundra 1, Discarded Caboose, Justin Duell, Frank Mariano, PB Broking, Ace and Madison, Governor Grimm, DZ Huffin, Achievement, The Scarecrow 121, Darren Tropey, Prof JJJ, Ghostface Killer, and Wolfgang KPZ. Thank you guys so much for supporting us on Patreon. And if you guys didn't notice, we just had a episode with the one and only Jeff Grubb of Giant Bomb, Games Beat. He joined us for 2 hours on Tuesday. Really interesting discussion about everything going on with Xbox and in the industry itself. So head on over to Patreon, sign up, check out the show early because it'll be available sometime next week for everybody else. But it was always a great time talking with Jeff about everything. Almost as good as the time talking with Colt Eastwood about stuff.
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
So, we do have somebody else joining in just a bit, so maybe I'll try to kill for some time before we grab some of these topics. These because I was sometimes you're a little worried, like, man, is there really going to be enough to really talk about? All those like the things you think of, like, oh, what kind of discussions can we have? Lengthy discussions about these topics, but it really sort of kind of picked up. Like last week was like ridiculous because all the Xbox stuff, right? Them shutting down the 4 studios, the Tom Warren article about debating whether or not Call of Duty was going to come to Game Pass and all the sort of conversations that had spawned, Sarah Bond's interview with Bloomberg. Everybody is feeling emotional about Xbox right now, and they're, making declarations about whether or not the brand is here to stay, or the brand's going to decline, or the brand's going to have an upward trajectory and all that sort of stuff. And this week, there was positive news for once, but because of how everything was presented last week, that positive news, because opening up a new studio is always a good thing, in my opinion. That was kind of looked with ultimate skepticism. And even, Ninja Theory, what they're about to put out Hellblade 2, people are worried about the future of that studio, and everybody is
That's mostly what people are saying.
Yeah.
Is that Ninja Theory is biting their fingernails, wondering if they're going to be around if the game doesn't, fly into the stratosphere. And before your next guest gets here, so we don't dive into the topics, I would love to address the whole narrative about doom and gloom. A lot of people are frustrated or concerned about content creators or games media people kind of spreading doom and gloom in this time.
Okay.
And I would just like to say a few things. If you're really paying attention to financials, the market, spending habits, the changing industry, everybody is in major turmoil in almost every industry. And us as content creators, I know people who sometimes paint you or I or other people as someone who made doom and gloom when we talk about the eventual future of consoles being maybe not as popular as they once were, or platforms becoming more multi-platform, like Xbox deciding to put more than just 4 games on PS5. The reason why we talk about this on our shows is not to doom and gloom people. Just as I would want people to be excited about games that are being built or new hardware that can be exciting or to be excited about and things to buy, I also want to kind of get people to understand an eventuality that there may be something changing in the industry that we're not used to. PlayStation just announced that they're going to be more player number focused instead of sales, because if they, they're kind of in Xbox's situation where if they continue to just talk about sales, they may look weaker than they really are, even if they aren't. So as far as us talking about doom and gloom, I'm finished my speech here in just a second. The doom and gloom really is just me. I'll speak for myself and I'll let you take it, Rand. I'm just trying to get people to kind of be prepared of a what if scenario. Like, what if Xbox did put maybe 2 to 3 more games at the end of the year? 2 to 3 more games will say, hey, these are coming to PlayStation in the near future. People can be blindsided by that news, but when you have people that kind of hear things a little bit, or they talk to people who might know where things are going, if we could kind of open up that discussion on our shows, I think that's okay. And it bothers me that people don't like that. I don't want people to not be happy to hear what's going on in the news. And sometimes we have to be a realist and just find things that we do enjoy about the I said I was gonna stop. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. At this point, if Xbox gets their games, like they just keep cranking out games, they keep putting them on Game Pass, and they make great hardware. Really, the only thing we have to lose as Xbox fans is a list war. And hey, I was involved in those for a long time. So that's as honest as I can say it. What how do you feel about that, Rand? What are you thinking?
Well,
in these changing times.
I mean, there's legitimate concerns people have about Xbox and whether or not their strategy moving forward is the correct one. Whether or not it'll, help the brand or hinder the brand is, everybody's kind of taking a side there. But there's also a lot of concern trolling about people who never liked the Xbox anyways and who never will like Xbox, and they really hammer it home. Some of it is, I would say, manufactured outrage. Some people really engage in for usually clicks and stuff like that. It's tough to sort of wade through the legitimate concerns that people have, and to be like, okay, and sort of like nail down the difference between those real issues versus the ones that are sort of amplified by social media and the need to be like, hey, I got a hot take, look at me, Xbox is dead, all these sort of things, and like the need to really have an opinion that is like so outrageous that people would flock to them and stuff. So it's really tough to navigate that. It's tough to navigate that for pretty much anything, and it's difficult to kind of gauge if someone's being actually truthful versus.
Well, I can see it, Rand, and I just saw it in your chat. KHS says, I really don't feel like rooting for Xbox anymore. When I see that, that's somebody who's being 100% sincere and a realist. And I see it a lot in my videos. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I put a little bit more of, I don't know if I trust the Compulsion Games or if I trust Avalanche. Like they kind of didn't deliver with Just Cause 3 and Just Cause 4. Like I'll say things like that in my video because I tend to like be more optimistic in my content, and I've kind of tried to add in a little bit of, hey, if I have a little bit of trepidation, I just make a quick. You don't have to like make a whole video about your trepidation. But I see a lot of comments in my podcast, on my videos, or on social media where people are like, hey, and I can see it right away, Rand, where they're like, hey, man, it's getting really hard to root for Xbox. And, you can see it when they're being sincere and they're not just being a concerned troll or they're not trying to win an argument. I see it a lot, and I really super appreciate it because those people feel the same way I do in a lot of ways. And we talk about it on the phone, right?
Yeah, or in the party. Talk about so much. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a conversation that also, is an ongoing one, and sometimes you spin the wheels on it, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know. I just know that a lot of people are feeling a certain way, especially when I look at my DMs. I get people constantly asking me like, "Is it over?" I feel like Xbox is on life support, and I just sort of like have to like look at that and be like life support as in like shutting down. I don't know how else like you would use that phrase. So I don't know. It's I'm not. I guess I'm probably more optimistic about my favorite hobby than others. So I also don't let Twitter or the sensationalism of headlines drive my thought process or feelings. And I always have to be the one to tell you, Twitter's not a real place. It may seem like it when when you follow all these people and everybody's saying the same thing. It may seem
feel like it's the truth.
You feel like, oh my God, everybody feels like this, and this is the way everything is, and it, all that stuff. But I also try to like very much like keep how I feel about gaming separate than like my real life, because I don't want it to impact my like my morale and my like esteem. Like, as a content creator, back when I was making videos, right, which I'm pretty sure I'll be making a Hellblade 2 review video because I think that's going to help me get back into
Yeah, we got to break
wanting
the
to
levee
make
again.
videos again, right? But
Yeah,
we always talked about this idea, like, we'd make content, we'd make videos, we put ourselves out there, and YouTube is very much like, hey, 1 out of 10, everybody loves you, and you'd be like, yeah, and you feel good about yourself. And anybody who knows Colt, I know Fonz would know this. When Colt had a 1 out of 10 video or a 2 out of 10 video or a 3 out of 10 video, boy, was Colt fun to be around in party chat, right?
Oh my gosh.
He was super happy doing
I'm
things
exposed.
like, yeah, right? But then
I would be in a party and Rand be like, Colt, I could tell Colt's in a good mood because his video was
he'd be like,
doing
oh, you
well.
can tell
Like,
Colt's in a good mood because his video must be doing well, right? But then you have the other side of it, right? You get like a video that's a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, and you check it, and YouTube's like, hey, guess what? Nobody wants to watch your video because you suck, right? And then that stuff started like it seeps into your subconsciousness, and then like you feel bad about it, like, oh, why didn't everybody watch this? And you realize it doesn't have really anything to do with you. It's more to do with maybe how you presented the topic, or how you labeled the topic, or how the thumbnail for it.
I did the Assassin's Creed Red video when Insider Gaming leaked like a bunch of details about how the game is set up and everything. It was really cool. And I made this video and I put a lot of production, put a lot of guts into it, and it's like 10 out of 10. No, it's like, no, why'd you even try? And I'm
so then you'd get into a party with Colt, and like he'd be like really rude. He'd be like upset, and then he'd be like, well, I guess this video didn't do well. Because it
and then all you guys would say, why do you even do YouTube? Why don't you give up, bro?
You think it wouldn't even matter. But that stuff starts really affecting how you feel in your daily life, and it's like I had to separate that. And it took me a while.
I mean, you're talking about two different things.
I know, but I mean, some people I have at least some of the comments I have, like how people feel about Xbox and the industry have affected like their daily life, and like, you know what I mean. So it's sort of it's a similar thing. But yeah. I just exposed
Big Boy
Cody
Barry.
Eastwood.
I play probably too much Xbox. I playing video games like all the time. It's kind of a problem.
That Fonz is like, yep, you exposed him. And like that is Colt to a T.
Sure.
If anybody knows him would know that. But
yeah, I mean, because some people can crank out a video in an hour or so, but I tend to spend half a day on it and put a lot of work into it, and then I'm like, nobody liked it. What the crap?
Yeah.
It's actually something that I was way worse than I am now. I was way worse, and I'm sure you've talked to me a lot where I get over it a lot faster. But it used to be really bad, and I had a lot. You weren't the only one. Fonz and Dealer and everybody's like, Colt, come on, you're supposed to be enjoying this stuff.
But let me get to some of these super chats. See what people are saying. We got Brett with the $2 saying, college football returns. EA Sports College Football 2025. Yeah, I did see the cover art and all that stuff. Colt, I already know the answer to this question. Are you excited? Because I know yesterday you were playing a baseball game. You were going 9 innings against somebody online for the very first time in MLB 2024. Are you?
Yes, I am excited about this. I'm excited about this. So, because ever since the mid 2000s, everybody talked about how much they loved the NCAA football games, right? That's true. What you're talking about. I'm excited for all those people. They've been waiting forever for this to come back.
Yeah, they would
love those games more than Madden.
They would say like, oh, they try out new things in NCAA and then like implement them in Madden later on. And
people liked them more than Madden, so I'm excited for that.
I mean, I'm not interested in it. But I know a lot of people are. A lot of people have that love of college football or college whatever, whether it's college baseball or hockey.
I stopped caring about my
whatever.
College when I left.
Yeah,
when I graduated.
But people really, really get involved with that stuff. So, and I think they're even paying college athletes now to be. I forget how much what it was, like $600 to appear in their game or something like that. Because now college athletes can earn money. So it's cool that it's returning.
That's cool.
We got
and there's a boxing game coming back, so get the sports stuff out of the way.
That's coming.
That looks what's it called, Undisputed.
Undisputed, yeah. I mean,
looks awesome.
You would think EA would do Fight Night, right? What it would be? Fight Night round 5 or 4? Round 3 was the
6
one that
maybe?
Launched with the 360. I want to say that looked amazing.
There's a back and pat one that Dealer and I would play pretty often. That was way better than it should be.
And I think there was a fourth one, so this would be like Fight Night Round 5, but I don't know if it's boxing is not as popular as it used to be, and they kind of focus more on UFC, which became way more popular.
Right.
But I think maybe it's time for them to make that boxing game. You know?
Yeah, and then have Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Dude, if Mike Tyson doesn't destroy him, I don't know what's up with that. Because you figured he should, right?
I kind of feel like this is a boxing match I have to watch, and I don't even care about the sport anymore.
Yeah,
like I used to. So
we got
enough sports on a real Xbox gaming podcast.
This podcast is about whatever the hell I want, and me and Jez want it to be about. So
you guys are talking about mayonnaise for 8 hours.
I mean, we'll talk about whatever. The show's 4 hours. You know, probably too long.
I bought a 44-ounce dew for this, dude.
Yeah, the Baja Blast. We got Face 23 BKNY with the 199 saying COD and Game Pass day one, that sub price going up. I mean, I sort of feel like it would go up regardless of whether or not Call of Duty would even be in there, like inflation and stuff.
Do you remember how much in games, how much worth of games they're giving you every year?
Yeah, it's some
remember that
ridiculous
one report, like
figure.
6,000?
It's like $3,000,
like $6,000,
$4,000 or something. It was some. I think it was some number like that.
Like 3,000 or 4,000. I thought it was 6, but yeah, it was some ridiculous number of how much they give you all year long in Game Pass for what's essentially $180 in the US for the year. But I am not going to defend a price hike no matter what they add to it. They bought Activision. Sorry, you get to put that in there. But whatever what changes they make, we'll have to talk about as it gets closer to.
Yeah, I guess it's so they've raised Game Pass prices once. Game Pass console went from $9.99 to $10.99, so $1 increase, and then Game Pass Ultimate went from $14.99 to $16.99. Now I do think they're going to raise prices across all the tiers. So the question is, do they take Ultimate all the way up to $20? Right? Do they basically do like a $3.99? Just say, all right, Ultimate's $20 and then whatever else, or do they do like another, hey, $2 for Ultimate and bring it up to $18.99? I don't know.
I thought it was already $18.99.
No, it's $16.99.
Oh, plus tax, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, PlayStation did raise their prices recently as well.
Let's ask your guest.
Yeah, we have someone, an invader. We have the one and only Lord Cognito from ILP in the realm of the Xbox 2 with Code Eastwood. What's going on?
Ooh, what's going on, peeps? How we doing? Can you hear me good? Are my levels okay?
Yeah. I mean, I'll turn you up just a little bit.
No doubt.
Just
no doubt.
Okay, there you go. 100%.
In the realm of the Xbox 2, Colt, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I've been really good, actually. Actually, in a good mood, regardless. I'm pretty happy, man. If you must ask. Yeah,
oh, nice. I haven't talked to you in a bit, and Rand, we talk a lot. But what's going on, man? What's going on in the realm over here? What's happening?
I don't know. Me and Colt mentioned that we're playing Hellblade 2. You know.
Oh yeah, I heard that's going around.
Yeah.
Rand was trying to give spoilers and break embargo, and I had to slap him. But we're back on track.
Appreciate you doing the Lord's work.
So what score are you going to give it, Cog? And tell us all about what happens in chapter 1. No, I'm just kidding.
That I will not be doing, but I'm glad to tell you that I am playing Hellblade. That's what I will tell you.
Hashtag gift from Xbox.
Hashtag gift from Xbox. Yes.
Someone replied to my tweet and said hashtag grift from Xbox.
Oh, damn. They shot.
Yep.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm just happy to be here. Obviously, my band is doing a podcast. Shout out to Jez and everything. But we got stuff to talk about, right? A lot of stuff going on. So what was you guys getting into already?
We
talked a little bit about Colt talked a little bit about the doom and gloom stuff going on around, and we kind of just. We were kind of just killing time waiting for you, honestly. We were just like, let's ramble about some stuff, get some super chats.
Hey,
things like that.
Before we talk about the Game Pass increase, can we get Cog's temperature on the doom and gloom situation right now? Yeah, I think that'd be nice to hear.
I like that. No, that's a good one. It's actually very relevant that you brought that up because I know in Defining Duke, I've been the source of. I guess they're not happy with corporate Cog right now. I've been the source of a lot of vitriol. And look, at the end of the day, the beauty of this thing is that we all can agree to disagree respectfully. So I'll put that out there. But as far as like my position on the doom and gloom, look, I just got to be honest. Y'all know my preferred platform has always been Xbox. I'm a Sega kid. That Xbox always felt like home to me. And as far as the controller, then obviously seeing titles and stuff come over, and obviously we know the history with the original OG Xbox DirectX team, how aggressive they were. And as a techie, it always resonated with me. Hard drive in the box, Ethernet, Xbox Live, and then they had these great titles that around the launch. And then 360 comes, and I think we could all agree that's peak, right? 360, Peter Moore era, the games that were birthed throughout that generational cycle really resonated. Then we get into the Xbox One era, which I thought the vision, for the most part, was cool. I wasn't as mad as everybody at the digital future thing, but the messaging was extremely poor. And the TV, and we all know what happened then. But Rand, me and you've had this conversation. I always die on a stake that the Xbox One launch was one of the more impressive launch lineups, and I felt they had the better software at the beginning of the generation. Let's just say that towards comparatively to the PlayStation 4. And then we learned some harsh lessons with the Xbox One. They had like about 5 studios. What was it? Mojang, Rare, Coalition, Turn 10, and maybe one more. I can't remember the other one. So I think the lesson learned. Lionhead, yeah. So the lesson, which was shuttered. So the lesson learned then is like, okay, you could throw money at a Sunset Overdrive, you could throw money at a Quantum Break, you could throw money at a Rise, but you don't really have ownership. You don't have your own studios to produce your own first-party content, and we saw comparatively to Sony how many studios they had. So in comes the Phil Spencer era. And for us, at least I can speak for myself, it was a breath of fresh air because at that point, I'm going to be brutally honest, I know Jez said this before, I wasn't sure Microsoft cared about gaming anymore. And for me, it was just like, do they want to be in it? And we heard like infamous names, like they're saying, hey, from a stakeholder level, from an executive level, why are we still doing Xbox? Those were the conversations around that time. And I remember, obviously Phil gets hired. We hear that, he came from the ground up, kind of thing. And you start to see the investment into first-party studios. So I call it, as Rand knows, the class of 2018. We get the big announcements. We get the Ninja Theories. We get the Playground. And you go, whoa, Compulsion, Undead. You're like, wow, they're serious. Then that follows up with Obsidian. So now you start to see the vision. And then, obviously, we get Game Pass. So you're like, all right, this is different. Not used to this. We're going to get all the games for free, so to speak. That's first party. It was weird. We're like, all right. But this is the pivot they clearly have to do to survive in a world where they are not the default brand. First of all, they are not the default brand in gaming. We have to be honest about that. With PlayStation, Nintendo being established, this is their pivot to try to remain successful. And to, I guess the way I look at it is to get executives to buy into gaming and why we can do that. So then we had the next inflection point, which I consider the Bethesdas and the ABKs. And you go, whoa, they're dead serious now. Like they are trying to feed this service. So now we get to where we are now. And let's just be honest, the Series console, as much as I love it, better than the Xbox One era, there's a lot of stuff to play, tons of stuff to play. I actually made spreadsheets on everything I played every single year and how much games I've been playing on it. So I think the notion of no games not on the platform is actually an outdated thing. I actually don't subscribe to that because the way I include it, if you have first party games and anything that comes in the Game Pass day and date, like an Outriders or that to me is a brand new game that I would not buy on another platform. I'm going to get it in Xbox. But now we get to where we go now, which is the messaging. What happens now, we hear 4 games coming over. So at that point to PlayStation and other platforms, at that point, you go, okay, the questions come up, are they committed again? Are they trying to exit? Are they not seeing it through? And there is a lot of mixed messaging. We're seeing, 1 minute you're saying you're not going to shutter any studios, and we see what happened to Tango. These are scenarios that we couldn't envision. So the way I surmise it right now, and this is why I guess I'm the source of ire from a lot of people, because everyone's telling me, leadership got to go. This is it. They're doing terrible. we've had enough. And for some people, you know, the Tango situation as well as the 4 games, that was the straw that kind of broke the camel's back. Like, I'm not going to be in it. But for me, I'm here for the games. And what I see is games. I've been playing nothing but games since the Series X console. And then I see the lineup that is this year, and I'm like, what is people talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just me. Obviously, we got Hellblade coming. We know about the rest of the year as far as Avowed, Indiana Jones, and so on and so forth. So if the issue is you don't like games going to other platforms, I get it. But that doesn't affect me. I'm going to play the games where I'm going to play it. But I think ultimately the last thing is just like, okay, they do need a clear and concise vision of what they're going to do. They need to sell the Xbox community as to their commitment to gaming, or if they're going to go into third party. Because the last thing I thought when we got the business meeting, I thought they were going to rip the Band-Aid off. I thought they were going to say, hey, no more Game Pass day and date. Hey, we're completely changing the strategy, right? Because it didn't work, and maybe something's not sustainable anymore, and you have to pivot. But when I see announcements like today, I don't know if you got into this, but when I see announcements like Call of Duty is still in the Game Pass, that indicates to me there are people in that building that still have gamer sensibilities and are still fighting for the continuation of the platform. Because I do think there are internal discussions is if you do these kind of things, how much brand damage do you do? And I think that's a legitimate question. So yeah, it's a weird time. I'm not going to say it's not. And I guess the final point I'll say is that I look at it as like a sports analogy, which is like people say the leadership's got to go leadership. And that's fair if you're not happy. But my question back is, who do you bring in? Right? Because most likely who you bring in is not going to have gaming sensibilities, is not going to understand what a Hi-Fi Rush or whatever, all these titles or Gears or stuff going to other platforms, the damage that could do to the brand long term. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is just like, I'm here for games and I still am getting them. So that's where the conflict is. But we'll get into it more. There's a lot to discuss. But I get it. I get the frustration. I get why people are dooming and glooming for some reason because there's confusion. But I'm personally playing the most games I've had in the longest time. And my backlog is crazy. It's I'll open it up to you guys. I've been rambling, but I'm curious about what.
I mean, that's why you're one of the best. You could just keep on. I could sit here and listen to you talk the entire time. I just be like, yeah, this was a great Xbox 2 episode. Cog talked the whole time. You know?
I made a drink and I don't even drink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's true, man. It is true. It's a weird time. I you know what it is, man. We're sports guys. Obviously Colt as well, and I like Niners fan. I'm a Niners fan, right? And I know right now, like everyone's all mad at Kyle Shanahan, like, bro, 2 Super Bowls in a row. What the hell are you doing? And I always tell people, okay, what is the alternative? I remember when we had Mike Singletary as a coach. I remember when we had Chip Kelly as a coach. I remember when we weren't going to the playoffs at all. And the key thing is if you bring someone in who doesn't have gamer sensibilities, they are going to be completely controlled by this board. See, that's how corporate works. It's not that people are lying to you. It's that was the project and the mission at the time. At the time when Game Pass was bubbling, they were giving us subscriber numbers. It's 25, now it's 30 million, it's whatever. And then they're selling Xbox consoles, MPD. At the time, ABK was the play, right? And it makes sense. There are people smarter than us that already figured out the numbers. Okay, if we put it in the service, what does that do to the service, right? If we have the entire lineup, what does that do to Game Pass? That's going to feed subscriptions. Okay, cool. All right, Phil, let's go, right? That could be the debate at that time. But can you account for all these things? Can you account for game development now taking 4 to 5 years? We already saw the Insomniac documents. We saw
6
that.
years.
6 years. Yeah, thank you. Corrected me. Yep, you're absolutely 6 years development. So we could dispel that thing that, what is it taking Xbox long? No, that's an industry issue. All games are taking 5 to 6 years to complete. Now you throw in, I know people don't want to hear it, but it's like, we start a pandemic. You've got corporations sitting there saying, look at this engagement, Rand. Oh my God. Look at these monthly active users.
They're up.
They're up. This is the new normal. Triple down on investment. Triple down on hiring. What are we seeing now? EA layoffs, Take-Two layoffs, all these layoffs from everybody. So
But the
again,
success metric shifted. It's no longer what people said it
Exactly.
was for a decade. Like everyone was banging that drum of sales and console numbers, and those certainly will equate out or sum up to be a successful platform. But now, when I was saying just before you jumped in, that PlayStation has shifted to talk about active users or player base numbers, because
Yeah.
it'll make PlayStation look weak when they're actually doing really well and still at this point, as far as we know, making more revenue than the new bag, which is Xbox with Activision Blizzard and Bethesda, right?
yeah.
Those things will change as they kind of accumulate because they're just now getting started.
Mhm.
But everyone is worried about a certain ways of the way that things are succeeding.
Mhm.
It just is going to take an adjustment for period for us. All of us were like, oh, I remember you and I had lunch in 2021, the week that Bethesda was like officially closing with Xbox. Like it was like perfect timing. You were in Seattle. We went and had lunch, and we were. I was all smiles, like it was happy Colt,
That's
right?
super dope. Yes.
But we had this idea, and a lot of people were dragging me this week because I wore a suit in my video. I like to wear a suit, and I look good. Anyway, but for real, I wore a suit and was celebrating the acquisition of Activision Blizzard when they wally mopped the FTC.
Right.
Like that was a big fight.
Yes.
And we had our concerns about what could happen if everything came in. And I thought FTC was dead wrong. But now, I mean, Rand and I, we were talking before you got here, Cog, about how Rand and I talk on the phone every day. And you and him talk on the phone almost every day as well.
Mhm.
And a lot of our conversations in private were like, what if, bringing on Activision Blizzard changes the way Xbox does business? What if they don't just want Call of Duty on PlayStation? What if, Satya starts pulling the ropes and saying, hey, this, leading Xbox this direction? And these were our concerns. But we also looked at Game Pass, like they can make more money in subs on Game Pass than they could sell consoles. Like there's more money, a residual revenue stream of Game Pass will make them more profit than losing money on a console. So it kind of seemed like a no-brainer. And so as the deal went through, I started to wonder, or the deal was supposed to go through. I was like, do I even really want this? And I remember saying in that video, Xbox, drop this fight, use some of that money to, rise up your studios, make bigger and better projects. Don't fight the FTC on this. Just give it up. Of course, Xbox didn't want to do that because they can print money now. But yeah, a lot of things have changed along the way. And you were saying like so-and-so lying, like nobody lies. The leadership doesn't lie. The content creators aren't lying. Like we're trying to give you the best take on where things are at the time.
Right.
And then sometimes the rug gets completely pulled out from under you and things change in ways that I never thought would happen. And I think right now, the amazing people that are in your chat, Rand, the people that support your podcast, your content, they're also kind of like a deer in the headlights. Like, look at how much the industry's changed. This is not what I expected, but you said it perfectly. In the end, we will get more games in a better value, and eventually they're going to reduce how long these games take to make. And if we really cared about gaming, that's what we're going to get, is a truckload of games. And thank goodness, because I'm tired of Xbox sitting on the bench for the last decade. I'm sick of it. So I'm excited.
I hear you, brother. I mean, yeah, I pretty much expounded. That was the final point I was going to say. Like you said, you factor in those things where they were, where their mentality was at the onset of trying to acquire Activision Blizzard King. You talk about, like I said, the global economy and the way people overcompensated. And you talk about a pandemic going on with the way it went. But ultimately, I think what also doomed them as far as where their thinking radically changed from stakeholders is the fact that you can't tell me that they accounted to be into litigation for almost 2 years with Activision, with the CMA, with the EU, and all those things. Because at that point in corporate, you have to make a decision. You have to do a timeline where the deal goes through, but you also now have to make a separate timeline as to when it doesn't. And how do you pivot in a world where you don't have it, when you thought for sure? Because when was the announcement, Rand? I'm going to say like
January of 2022.
Yeah, January
early
2022.
January, too.
Early January 2022 is when the announcement happened. So at that
I remember
point,
where I was.
yeah, they're thinking to themselves.
I was sleeping because Cognito called me at like 6 a.m.
I was at
or
lunch
8
with my
a.m. or
brother,
whatever
and
it
I'm
was.
like, I was at lunch with my brother, and I go, holy crap. He's like, is that a big deal? I That's probably the biggest deal. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'll let you go because I want to talk to it, but I think that also factors in. And now I think Colt, you alluded to this, which is when you make an acquisition like an ABK, and we have to give Phil this for the people who do not like him or do not like this regime. We have to understand this is his legacy as far as this particular deal, right? And when you get stakeholders to pay attention to gaming, because gaming is minuscule to Microsoft. Xbox could go away today. They are fine. So when you get them I hate the reality, but like if you get them to pay attention and say, oh, wow.
I mean, aren't they doing better now? Like there was the point where they were like above
they
Windows.
They were like third above Windows. Yeah.
So you take that back, Cognito. You make that make that sound nicer.
I'm just saying, like to them, it's like you're a spreadsheet, bro. How much are you make? And now it's when you invest this
a rounding error,
right? Exactly. You invest this amount, and now they go, whoa, what's this Call of Duty thing? And man, this Blizzard thing's kind of nice. We like this revenue. So
maybe we should have spent $70 billion on AI instead.
Right? And it's like, oh, so why is it not exclusive? I mean, we could get more money, extract more value if we put it. See, that's what stakeholders are talking about.
Sure.
They don't understand about Hi-Fi Rush. They don't understand about why things. Even Satya's been on record for saying he does not understand the concept of exclusives. It makes no sense to him. These are non-gaming sensibility people in these positions that are trying to maximize profit. That's why I tell the community who's very anxious to get this group out of there, be careful what you wish for. Because if you do get that, that could accelerate things to where you don't want it. So to me, last point I'll say.
I got to ask you a question about that. I asked, I was DMing Jez and he was texting me and I was making a big surprise face every time he texted me back. I want to ask you, Cog and Rand. Well, I should ask Rand because we're not going to let Rand talk on the show.
I mean,
and I was asking the chat and they're okay with that.
It's just like, I know this will happen. You get Cognito and Colt on here.
Sorry.
I feel like I'll take a back seat, It's like,
hey, we're just getting warmed up for LA, right, Cog?
Yeah, we getting warmed up. I can talk, but yeah, let's pose it to Rand. Let's get Rand.
Okay, all right. Sorry, we'll get Rand in on his own show for a second here.
Let's get him in.
Let's bring in Rand. Let's tag him in. Jump over the top ropes for us, Rand. Okay, here's my question for you, Rand Elthor 19, the man with $1 million. Doesn't Xbox stand to grow Game Pass if they have some sort of exclusivity with their games? Meaning, if you want to play Doom Year Zero, you have to buy it on Xbox, Steam, PC, or subscribe to Game Pass. Because if you release Doom Year Zero day and date on PlayStation, does that minimize your opportunity to grow Game Pass, or do you think it'll be just fine?
Nah, I think that is the question that they're probably asking themselves right now within the halls of Redmond. Because
how do you know?
Like how do I know they're talking about that? Or like how do I know?
I mean, how I want you to pretend like you're working at Microsoft and you're this is one of your decisions. Like, how do you know, Rand, that you could possibly grow Game Pass by launching Doom Year Zero on there and not putting it on PlayStation? Like, what's the balance you tip it on the scales? Because you can make a lot of money on PlayStation, but you can make a lot of money with subs. But do subs grow from things like Indiana Jones Day and Date only on the Xbox platform? That's like, how do you feel about that? Where do you think they're sitting?
Well, I think we have the news that they're going to put Call of Duty on there, on the service this year, right? Like Wall Street Journal came out and they pretty much said, hey, what was the exact quote? I have it here. Microsoft plans a major shakeup of its video game sales strategy by releasing the coming installment of COD to its subscription service instead of the long-time lucrative approach of only selling it a la carte, right? And we know that Bobby Kotick, during the FTC trial, was like, I would never do that. And with like Game Pass being at like 35 million and stuff, kind of essentially flatlining over the course of years after the Activision acquisition for, whether or not because they didn't release any games in 2022 or the schedule of games in 2023 wasn't up to what people wanted. But I do feel like there is this moment within Xbox where they're like, okay, do we really want Game Pass to be the thing? Are we really behind this all the way to get it to the numbers that we needed to get to, like 50 million, 60 million? But the only way to actually get people into that service is to provide people with exclusive content or just content that really draws in a lot of people, right? So Call of Duty could be that. Call of Duty is a game, the biggest game of the year. People are going to play it. People are going to buy it. There's the hope that some of those people will essentially be like, all right, I'll try out Game Pass. Maybe even the group of people who play Call of Duty don't even know it exists, right? Because sometimes we talk about Xbox and their marketing and maybe how they have a problem with it. So maybe Call of Duty changes that. And they're okay with losing some of the money that they would get selling it a la carte, because like if we can grow the subscriptions from 35 million to 45 million, that's great. But as it pertains to other games, like, yeah, I would imagine if a brand new Doom came out and it was the only place you could get it is PC or Xbox, which that's a massive franchise. People are going to come and they're going to check it out and they're going to subscribe. Now, whether or not they subscribe long term, that's anybody's guess. But we even do know it's like Starfield that it had like the highest signups day one and stuff. When you put your games on other platforms, especially if you were going to do it day and date, I think that dilutes the power of the game, how many people it's going to bring into Game Pass, because, and I know some people might say, well, I would rather get it for free than have to pay $70, right? And that's the whole conversation has been about the price of games. I mean, even some of the discussion around Assassin's Creed Shadows is about like, well, even Star Wars Outlaws is about how Ubisoft is pricing their game, right? But yeah. I would say, as we've seen with Sea of Thieves on PlayStation, even though Sea of Thieves has been out on Xbox for 6 years, on PC and on Xbox, there are people that aren't going to cross that picket line, as Cog told me last night. They are not going to basically go to another platform and play it there and subscribe or buy it or whatever, because that's where they want to play their games and their friends are there, or whatever different reasons. You can see how successful it's doing, and you'd be like, but wait a minute, you could have it for free over there and you could have been playing it this whole time. But they don't care.
And it's crossplay.
Some people don't care. Some people are like, I don't care whatever Xbox puts out. I ain't playing on Xbox. I ain't buying a console, and I ain't playing it on PC, right? So the reason you would bring your games over there is to reach those people, and PlayStation has a large audience, and you could make money off that. But I sort of feel that if you're really doing this thing of like, all right, we're going to put our games over there, so you have multiple ways of going about it, you're sort of kind of kneecapping Game Pass. And you're essentially you're going to limit how much it can grow. And the only difference between Xbox and PlayStation at that point is going to be Game Pass. And
the value of Game Pass.
It's like, hey, do you want to play on this platform where you can get it for free, or on this platform where you have to pay for it? And I think for anybody who's already on the other platform, they're fine where they're at. They're not going to be like, let me go spend more money for this console just to play a single game or a collection of games. And maybe they're not interested in all the games that come out in the Game Pass. So for them, it's like, I'll play the ones that I want to play, and I'm fine essentially paying for them, right? Go ahead.
Can I say something that will age poorly? Because like all we can do is speculate at this point.
Right.
So if you put a game like Indiana Jones in the Great Circle, and let's just assume it scores in the mid 80s and it does really well and people really like it, okay? If that game waits 1 year to go to PlayStation, if it's a mid 80 and everybody really liked it, that game in 1 year will sell really well on PlayStation. So what happens, and I'll say this could be, clipped because it may not ever come true, but the year that you have Indiana Jones exclusive to the Xbox platform and PC and Game Pass, a la carte and all that stuff, you could bring somebody in the holiday for Indiana Jones. They could subscribe to Game Pass, and if Xbox has these games, every few months they're putting in a big game from first party, which is what we're kind of where they're at now. People won't leave. So what I'm trying to say is someone will sub just to get Indiana Jones. They'll stay for a year. They'll pay what is it, like $220 if they raise the prices, $230 for the whole year. And then you got all these people compounded because they said they're making 3 to 4 billion in revenue on Game Pass right now when it's not even a high number. And that residual revenue stream is way more powerful than anything else Xbox is doing right now besides charging for online. So like that's the fight that Xbox teams, and I'm just going to say I think that Xbox teams are internally fighting with the leadership at Microsoft to hold their relevance, their jobs, because if Microsoft takes over and says, hey, look, we're just putting games everywhere, a third-party publisher, don't worry, we'll make lots of money, their jobs, all those people's jobs essentially be kind of minimized and will just eventually kind of dissolve away or full. Like they're worried about that. So they're fighting the good fight for us who are on the platform to have some sort of exclusivity window. Now, if Elder Scrolls 6 launches only on the Xbox platform and Game Pass, PlayStation gamers are going to want to play that game. And if it comes out 12 months later on the PlayStation, but it's been all year on the platform and Game Pass will grow really great because of those games and that game, and they'll sell consoles and they'll sell games. So I think Xbox has a really compelling argument to say, look, here's what we project. Here's our chart predicting what we think we'll do if we stay off of PlayStation for 12 months. And I think that's what they should be pushing for before they try to say, well, because Rand and I talk a lot about there'll be some games that just come day and date because they're really service-based or multiplayer. But there's no reason to put Fable, Perfect Dark, Elder Scrolls, in my opinion, Doom Year Zero, Marvel's Blade, on and on, or the next Fallout game. Like there's no reason to put those games on PlayStation day and date. Now, if Xbox has a game like, let's say Contraband is supposed to be like their next big exciting multiplayer game, maybe they're right now going, hey, you know what? Contraband's one of those we got to put over here in the pocket and say this needs to go to PlayStation. We're going to make a ton of money off of everybody playing that. They're going to love the game if that's how they feel, right? So I think that it's super important. And that's why I put out a tweet the other day saying Xbox and Satya and Phil, they all need to consider an exclusivity window to grow Game Pass and to keep people on their service, because people don't really switch. Like when people say, I'm going to switch to PlayStation, like if you're a real gamer, like you can buy a used PlayStation. Like you don't take your Xbox and go get rid of it. You don't take it to GameStop.
Some
like
people
not
do.
really.
Some people do.
Some people do. But when you paid $500 for your console, like you already bought it. You're going to lose money when you sell it. Like you have all these games you own on it. So that's kind of my approach right now. Xbox, it's like, this is my white flag to please work on some sort of exclusivity window, because I feel like if they don't, Game Pass could be hindered to the point where they just kind of let it go away if they don't let it grow. And I think the way to let it grow, I could have made this speech 1 minute. I'm so sorry. The way to let it grow is to have unique games that you can only get there or on the platform. Amen.
Amen, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, are any of you surprised that Call of Duty is coming to Game Pass? I feel like this is kind of a non-story a little bit. I know Tom Warren kind of was like, well, they're debating it, right? About like, should they or should they not? And I did see some outlets that like quoted Tom, but then this is how things like change, right? It was like Tom said there's debates. He never said it's not going to happen. It's just like, hey, we're talking about it. We're but I did see some outlets being like, essentially then say it's not coming to Game Pass, right? Right. Which is like, I don't know how you got that from. And then they pretty much said it at the business meeting in February. Yeah. And then Sarah Bond basically came out in the Bloomberg thing and was pretty much said it again. So it was like, okay. And now the Wall Street Journal's reporting through sources that they're doing it. And I sort of feel like this isn't surprising, because Call of Duty is the game that if you wanted to take Game Pass to the next level, this was essentially the one to do, right? Like you have, like if you weren't going to do it,
Yep.
then what's the point? Like, you're
What's the
pretty
point of
much
the
giving
deal?
up on Game Pass, and you went across to every single regulator in the world and told them you were going to do it, right? So I
Like
feel
one
like
bad mother says, they said under oath. Like Phil said under oath in court that Elder Scrolls 6 would be exclusive to Xbox. And I remember when I brought that up to you, you're like, business changes. I'm like,
yep, it
are you
changes.
allowed to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, plans change. I mean, they also said that during this stuff, but I mean, what did they think? Like, oh, it was perjury? Well, like, yeah, back in 2020 or 2022, whatever, the 2023, it was like, well, yeah, at that time when we were thinking we were going to do it exclusive, but you know, our thought process changed, the business changed, and we're not going to do that now. So, yeah, Call of Duty coming to Game Pass, like COG, like essentially. It's a must, but it's really no surprise, right? In your opinion, like all this sort of back and forth.
Yeah, it was no surprise to me. I had this debate with Maddie. You know, I think of what it is a
Who
lot
won
of
the
people.
bet? Who won the bet? Did he take the
Well,
opposite?
yeah, I'm currently winning the bet because
okay.
this was right. Remember, this is emotions are high. This
Uh-huh.
is fresh off of the ZeniMax studio situation when I obviously was in Roundhouse, Alpha Dog, and Arcane Austin as well as Tango, and I think what it was is it was such a shock, obviously with Tango, that I think it had reverberations in the sense that people were like, okay, well, what else is going to change? You know, because we were told that this type of studio or this type of situation would be nurtured, would be cultured and developed under the business model that is Game Pass, that a title, you know, like a Hi-Fi Rush could coexist next to, you know, these bigger titles. And I think that's what made, in fairness to the groups that think it wasn't coming, I think that's what made them say, okay, this changes everything. But to your point, I always looked at it as one, we already had the indicator from the business meeting from Sarabon and what I consider what they consider almost like the 4 or 5 tenets of what it means to be Xbox. This was in their Xbox Wire post.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like day and date, games first party, go day and date into the service. And one of the second bullet points was, hey, with the launch of Diablo 4, the first game into Game Pass from our Activision Blizzard King family, the first game of all of them that will go into the service, that to me was the indicator right there that they are still moving forward with Call of Duty. And I think that, you know, a lot of people are struggling with it because they're thinking that they were completely going to rescind and backtrack. But to your point, Ren, I think you said it best. If your intention is to still stick with Game Pass, and they, in my opinion, they had every intention, they had every opportunity to move away from Game Pass at that meeting, to say no more day and date, we're making a fundamental change, games are going everywhere. And at that point, I was bracing myself. I thought, hey, that might be a possibility. I may have to get ready for that. But when I saw that, I'm like, wow, they're still committing to that vision. So to Colt's point, that's what leads me to believe the internal battle is still going on, because clearly it's conflicting message to send 4 games as a test bed to other platforms. But if in the same breath you're saying, yo, we're still doing Game Pass day and date, and we're putting the biggest game, you know, one of the, what I consider the Sinister Six, those 6 games that everybody plays, it doesn't matter what generation, you know, the Fortnites, the Call of Duties, you know what I'm saying? Like those games,
the
those forever games. Yeah, like, what you have one of the Sinister Six. If you're Microsoft, you have Call of Duty, arguably the biggest annual franchise. You have to see what that does to your subscription service vision, right? And provided you market correct, right, Colt? Provided if you intend to get hardware up past 31%, provided you market a Call of Duty console, hint, speaking it into existence. I would like them to do, but I think that's what it is. Oh, please, man! I think that it needs to be the
Stop
home
doing
of
the one-offs.
Yeah, like you need to see the logo. You need to know that this is the home of Call of Duty. And I think that to me says internally, let's see this part through. Let's see what it does. And maybe we can come back to the table to stakeholders, say, look how much growth we have, and maybe that affords the fight to continue. Because I do agree with Cole ultimately that there are still internal struggles. There are people from a stakeholder standpoint that want ROI right now. And then you have probably current leadership group that says, okay, we get that. We're behind target. But if we do this, how much long-term brand damage do we do? And is it something we may never recover from? Because again, Colt made another good point. Like Game Pass will give you that ability to say, okay, I can play these games. But if you're putting everything day and day on your competitor, people may question, well, why do I need to be in your platform to begin with? I'll just stay, like Rand said, where I'm at Switch and PlayStation. Oh, and eventually it'll come, right? That's the internal battles they have going on, and it's going to be interesting to see. But overall, the long-winded answer to your question is no. I was surprised that they stuck with it with Call of Duty, but I do want to see how they market it. I want to see how they go forward. And a good sign is that at least we do know that they have an entire direct established for quote unquote Call of Duty Cerberus or whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see how they they come together on that.
Yeah. It's funny. I mentioned like how other outlets will take a report and they'll twist it, and it'll become something completely different. Like Tom Warren, hey, they're having debates, becomes Xbox isn't putting Call of Duty on Game Pass, right? Last week I was also taken out of context. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, what they do?
I said that I had heard there was a new tier of Game Pass coming, and I literally said, I don't know a thing about it. I don't know nothing about it, right? And then it changed. I saw some articles there like, Randall Thor 19 says new tier coming. They're changing Game Pass, X, Y, and Z. There going to be ads and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? I didn't say any of those things. So it's always funny to see how, like, it's like a game of telephone. You say something and then like it goes down the line and maybe they try to spruce it up. But you sort of mentioned like the idea of, there was the fear that maybe Xbox would stop doing like day and date stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something that they are considering at Xbox, like the idea of like, let's push more people to Ultimate. Let's raise the price of all the tiers, and let's get, because I think there's like 80% or 75% of the people are in Ultimate that pay the most. Like, let's see if we can get the rest of them in there. And like maybe how you would do that would be like have a tier where, you don't have any day one games, essentially. So if you wanted Call of Duty, you would have to get the Ultimate tier. So you'd be paying like, what essentially would be, maybe they go up to $20 a month. So you'd be paying $20 a month instead of like the 10 you could have been playing. Although you do have to get multiplayer. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes with all of that. But Activision was also in the news.
What's going on? Because
they announced a new studio. Cog, this sounds like you're the captain of the Just One.
Yeah.
And you've been beating that drum for a long time. And it seems like maybe you might get this Just One from Activision of all places. So I'll set it up, right? And I want to get your guys' both thoughts on this, because this announcement caught people by shock, surprised. There was, normally like a new studio announcement is something to be praised, especially in times like these where like people are getting laid off and studios are closing. Here comes the Activision's like, hey, we're announcing a new studio that's not working on Call of Duty. And everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Microsoft's going to shut you down in 2 months. You're just going to work on COD. How could you do this after just shutting down Hi-Fi? Like, the actual sentiment to the announcement was probably the worst one I've ever seen for a studio. But, so Activision has formed an all-new internal studio called Elsewhere Entertainment, headquartered in Warsaw, Poland, with additional resources in the U.S. And they say, Cog and Colt, it's exclusively focused on creating a new narrative-based and genre-defining AAA franchise. So they built the studio from the ground up. It's a premier and standalone studio dedicated to establishing an environment that inspires bold and diverse ideas. They have basically, the team are from storytelling experts from games like The Last of Us, Uncharted, The Witcher, Cyberpunk, Destiny, The Division, and Far Cry. So They say the new studio has full access to Activision's resources and tools as it continues to increase production and development. Elsewhere is opening its search for best-in-class talent from across the industry and around the world to help create a state-of-the-art and next-generation gaming experience. And obviously they have their career page, because even though I think the studio's been around for a little while, this was like the official coming out party. But how you feel about this? Unexpected for sure. Does like the studio closures affect how you view this? And do you think maybe this will give you that just one that you've been looking for a long time?
This was, man, this is a big one. This was a big one. Didn't see this coming. Clearly looks like this has been, incubated for some time. And, one thing I like is the amount of talent. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, when you hear the alumni from Last of Us, Uncharted, Witcher 3, Cyberpunk, and Far Cry,
Not Destiny?
that's big.
Not Destiny?
And of course,
you're
Destiny,
the Destiny
my
dude.
beloved,
Yeah.
my beloved, right? So look, it's coming from the the Activision house side of things, and the AAA production value, which is huge for me. Now, look, I've always been on record, for those who don't know, the hashtag just one thing started as a person who does enjoy those games. I do have a little fatigue right now, but I do enjoy those games. And I understand the quality of them and why a lot of people in the PlayStation ecosystem truly loves them. And I always challenge Microsoft, no disrespect to Hellblade, because we know what Hellblade is, right? But just from a technicality standpoint, I was like, man, it would be so cool if, there was an original game that kind of fit that mold, that wasn't a sequel, that didn't already exist in some form, and it was kind of built up within the Xbox Game Studio family. And this seems to be a studio whose exclusive job is to do what I've always wanted. And look, I'm excited. Now, granted, the timing is weird because we just had some studios shuttered, but I don't think they're directly related, in the sense that this probably was, if I had to guess, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, this is something that has been in development and in process for some time, and now they're at the point of doing it. So I'm excited about it. I really want to see what they have cooking up, and obviously, Activision, we have to admit, from what I think Matt Booty had said in his last statement during the shutter, is that they are focusing on these core franchise, these bigger titles, right? And I do like the idea of it. Only thing I would caution is just that I don't want to see this. What makes Xbox dope to me is the fact they have one of the most diverse software lineups. You've got the racing, you've got turn-based, you've got, FPS, you've got all these things that makes up this amazing gumbo that is Game Pass, right? That to me is their strength. Whereas even though I love hashtag just one, the counter argument to PlayStation could be like, well, you're kind of formulaic now. You kind of just give me nothing but hashtag just one. No disrespect to Helldivers 2 is moving out here, but I'm talking about, like, from a first party perspective, their titles are starting to blend together in terms of that third person narrative, over the shoulder style game, right? I just would like to see Xbox I felt they were the opposite. They were like very deficient, of those style, minus Hellblade that that we're playing right now.
Yeah.
But this is exciting to me. I want to see where that goes. And again, for people who are doom and glooming, I see games, I see investment, and when I see things like this, I'm emboldened. I'm like, I don't know what anyone's talking about. I got stuff to play, and now you're telling me another project is coming with this. We got, Kojima's OD. We've got the Wu-Tang game. We still know we got the Initiative. We're hoping to see what's going on with them.
Perfect Dark, which we will see at E3 this year. Yeah,
right. Which is something that I really was. Those are the only things. If I had doom and gloom, then my concerns were the State of Decay 3, the state of Perfect Dark, and my doom and gloom will jump in for the people who are like, oh, you're just loyal for the sake of being loyal. No, I'm here for games. They have them. Now, where you lose me, where Xbox will lose me, is if the class of 2018's games, all those studios, if the majority of those games are in Redfall territory.
Ooh.
Right? And we're talking about now complete mismanagement of Xbox. Then you go hear Cognito go off. And then you're going to see, I don't know about this leadership team, because at that point, you're the steward of that generation, right? So that's when you judge. But when you have games here and you have more games coming, and unfortunately, I'm one of those people, Colt, I love Starfield. I'm not one of the, so to me, I'm already seeing fruits of the vision where I see, yo, that's a quality game. Forza's a quality game. Hi-Fi Rush was a quality game. We know what happened, but it was still a quality game. The only nitpick was Redfall. So I'm excited. Again, if you love games, this is the platform for you. That's how I look at it. And if you like investment in games, I still see it. So yeah, Elsewhere, I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm not sure Colt's here. He might be, but I know he said he texted me and say he had to go pick up his kids and he'll be right back.
All good.
So yeah, I was shocked to hear this when I saw the announcement, because you don't really see like a lot of studios being opened up, and like I will agree the timing is bad on this.
Yeah,
like the optics of like, even though they've been around a bit, right, working in secret, building it up. Obviously Microsoft didn't plan on shutting down, those 4 studios a year ago, or even probably like 3 weeks ago. It's just kind of something that happened. And I know I saw some people being like, well, why don't you take some money from this, but it's like Xbox Game Studios, Activision, and, Bethesda all have like their own budgets, and Activision, but it's odd to me because like this sort of feels like maybe a studio Bethesda would create. Like Activision, they, maybe if it was like 15 years ago, but they went all in on Call of Duty. Essentially all their teams and all their support studios all work on it, right? It's like you're either Blizzard and you're doing Blizzard things, making Blizzard type games, and if you're not, you're supporting one of the Call of Duty franchises or Warzone, right? There wasn't really any room for another franchise. So to see this and being like, yo, this is a new IP, a new franchise, standalone. We're starting up in Poland, which, I guess it's good to keep the cost down there, because I don't think game development is as expensive as it is here. You have some visionaries working at the studio with like I see a lot of RPG pedigree in there, too, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, so like, is Activision, this is sort of the thing like would be celebrated. Like if Xbox didn't shut down the studios, people would be going over the moon about Activision having a new studio that's working on something new that's not Call of Duty,
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
I know,
right,
but I guess like to bring it down and be like, yeah, we're probably not going to see this for a long time.
It's going to be a minute.
It'll be like 4 or 5 years or
4 to 5,
something.
for sure.
Before we see anything with that. So, while Colt's gone, let me get some of these super chats because they are piling up. Right. We have Wagerman. You know Wagerman, right?
That's my guy.
Cognito?
First, quick Wagerman story. My first E3 2015.
2015, yeah.
Kid from the South Bronx, flies out to LA, never been to LA for the first time, never been to a fan fest, doesn't know anybody. There's a bunch of content creators there. I get off the plane, I figure I'm in the right spot for the fan fest, and the first person that I walked up to was Wagerman, and he's like, oh yeah, bro, you're in the right spot. And me and him hit it off ever since. Cool dude. Like, yeah, that's family. Like, I gotta see if he's out there for Summer Game Fest or all that other stuff, it'll be dope to see him again. That's my guy.
He says, good afternoon, gents. Xbox should slap COD logos all over a Series S with the year of Game Pass Ultimate for $3.99 and drop the whole COD catalog on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Make it the COD box.
Hey, now. He talking my language, man. I mean, during the 360 era, remember, they were the shooter box. That was the place. That's the place you played it. You got to let the casuals know. I'm with them. Slap that thing all over. Make sure the Series S, there's a little man version. I want to see custom console. I don't want to see no sleeves either. I want to see that dedicated, whatever it is, Cerberus, whatever they call it this year, Black Ops, whatever. I need to see it, man. I think that it improved 31% of bad.
Do you think they would have been? Look, I just don't know if they were able to make a custom console simply because if they weren't able to work together until October of last year.
Good point.
I don't know if there's enough time to make any. Now you could definitely have a bundle, right?
Yes.
You could market it and being like, play it day one on Game Pass and all the TV ads you could do, and you can bundle the game with the consoles, whether it's the Series X or the Series S. I just don't know if there's enough time to do a custom console because I know there's a lot of lead time into those. So
Yeah, stop making sense, Rand. You
I don't know.
all
We'll
logistics
see.
sense.
I mean,
Messing up my fun.
it's something that probably should be done, but I thought they should have done it with Starfield as well, and they haven't. And they haven't bundled Starfield at all. So it sort of makes me wonder if they would even bundle Call of Duty with the consoles, because Xbox used to when they had the marketing deal. Sony used to every single year. So it's something that people do buy. I would say it would be a missed opportunity if they don't, especially considering, like, you saw the reports, PlayStation shipped like 4.5 million units last quarter, despite being down 29% from the previous year, quarter over quarter. But Xbox said they shipped like 5 times more than Xbox. It's like hardware is getting to that point where it's like, all right, what's going on here? So could Call of Duty resuscitate it, right? Because I mentioned on the Xbox 2+1 with Jeff Grubb that is like, you have Grand Theft Auto 6 coming end of next year now. So it was just calendar 2025. Now it is holiday 2025, or at least at fall 2025. And who knows, it still could get delayed to early 2026 or whatever. But that is a game that is next gen only that people are going to upgrade for. And I believe PlayStation just said like half their monthly active users are people who still play on the PlayStation, right?
PlayStation 4, yeah.
And I've heard similar about Xbox, that half of their monthly active users on the console are still people that play an Xbox One. And to be honest, Xbox really hasn't given anybody a reason to upgrade to the Xbox Series X, right? All the forever games are still on last gen.
Good point.
The only next gen games that Microsoft has are like Redfall, Starfield, and Forza Motorsport, and Redfall was a disaster. So for a lot of people, there's no reason to spend the money when they're getting exactly what they want on the console that they already own, right?
Yep.
But if you were to kind of not only take over the marketing for COD, have a bundle for COD, but if you were to drop last generation and say, hey, this new Call of Duty is only on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S and maybe Switch 2 or maybe the Switch or whatever, I don't know when that would kind of start. That would give a reason for those people who've been playing Call of Duty on last generation to finally have to make the choice about where are you going to upgrade.
Yes.
Maybe that helps hardware sales. But then again, they may be looking at it like, nah, we're not dropping last gen yet. And maybe they never drop last gen. I don't know. Maybe they're just too many people on there. Warzone's already we're not taking Warzone away. So I'm really curious to see what Microsoft's strategy is going to be to take advantage of Activision, Blizzard, and Call of Duty to help their business. It'll be interesting.
No, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree, because that's what's so key about, even though I've been out of the Call of Duty loop for years, I haven't been that guy that used to prestige and all that since from back in the day. But I'm curious to see, again, how they handle it, how they handle the marketing, how they handle, just we're the home of Call of Duty, and from a console synergy standpoint, how they handle it. Because it is interesting, like, to see if they can improve it. And to your point, I think if you look at reports from, Matt Piscatella and Sakana and how, like, hardware is just down, right? Across the board now. And when you don't have a Grand Theft Auto, launching in 2024, right? You don't have a Switch, to some of these things that would drive people to buy hardware, as well as what I keep calling them the Sinister Six, those forever games that people can still play on last generation, that it doesn't incentivize them to, upgrade. But if you make a next gen only, COD, if you make a next gen only, which we understand Grand Theft, that changes things a bit, in my opinion. That gives them, okay, now we have to go because this is our forever game, so to speak. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. We have Don Taku with the 5. Rand promised that the next time Jez wasn't here, he would invite me on and we would be the Nintendo's, the betrayal. Can you imagine me on a Nintendo podcast? I can't imagine that.
Shout out to the Don. That'd be hilarious.
We got Big Afroman 14 with the 10. Hey boys, just listen to Sacred Symbols, and Colin said Xbox is having its Sega moment and doesn't think they'll be able to turn it around. Do you guys think it's that dire? Well, I haven't listened to that Sacred Symbols, so I'm sure I'm missing a lot of context there. And Cog, you're well acquainted with Mr. Moriarty, considering
Good friend of mine.
on his network.
Yes.
So do you feel that Xbox is having its Sega mode? Now, when I hear that, I think of they're about to exit hardware, right? I'm assuming that's what Colin's talking about.
Yes.
But I can't be sure. It's weird because, didn't Sega pretty much fold quickly, if I remember correctly?
Overnight.
And I know that Xbox is still doing hardware for next generation console, and I think a handheld. So that would sort of say that it's not like Sega if they're still going to keep on doing it. Is it that dire? I mean, hey, selling or shipping only 800,000 units in quarter 4, that is pretty goddamn bad. And they need to kind of look internally and say, all right, how much does this really matter to us? What are we going to do to change any of this stuff? Do we even really care? I don't think it's that dire because I believe we're going to get another generation of hardware.
Right.
If the hardware continues to plummet, maybe eventually the next gen is just Microsoft's just a publisher. I mean, I can't predict the future. I did think ABK was going to be a good thing for Xbox, and right now ABK is kind of looking like a bad thing because it's kind of looking like the money men have taken over, and that's something that I didn't particularly want.
Yeah.
So, I get things wrong all the time. I don't know. Do you think it's as dire as Colin apparently is saying on Sacred Symbols?
Shout out to Colin. Definitely don't agree on this one. He knows that. But I understand the sentiment with the way they've been moving, right? It seems like that path could be a timeline, a multiverse, right? But to your point, the reason why I still said to myself, it's not exactly Sega because see, again, I go back to that business update.
You're a Sega kid, too.
I'm a Sega kid. I remember
that.
Bro, I went through it.
You were forged in the fires.
Bro, I am a refugee. Being an Xbox fan, I'm a Sega refugee. I have a home. This place looked familiar. I'm like, oh, wow, this controller. Wow, Windows CE. I remember you. You were in Dreamcast. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow. Shenmue.
I didn't even know there was a Sega until I went to my friend's house. I'm like, what's wrong with your Nintendo?
Damn it, Colt. Not like that.
I was like, none of these games are it was a totally different time. None of these games are on that system, and none of those are on this.
Yeah,
it's a totally different thing. No, I had to go pick up my kids from school.
You're good.
My kids
You're
are
good.
still young enough where they have to go be picked up. So yeah, I had to run out and do that. Sorry.
That's good. I'll just finish this question. Yeah, now look, the short of it is the difference here is that, like I said, I had Peter Moore on Iron Laws before. Shout out to the legend, you know what I'm saying, during the 360 era. And, he told me how sobering it was. It was almost instant. You go to, Sega Japan, you tell them what's going on, how reviewing, how hardware is not moving. And then you have those tough conversations and bringing stuff over. The difference is Sega completely exited the hardware business immediately. It was almost like an overnight situation. Whereas in Xbox, which is very encouraging to me, is still that they're saying, no, we're still making hardware. And that's the unique thing. So yeah, I understand people say, hey, but they're putting games over. This is the sign. And it could very well be. I don't know the future. But I could go for right now and what I heard about the current generation, the next generation, is that they're still making it. So when I see that and I still see games and services and gaming revenue still up, right? To me, despite people, well, it's only up because ABK. Well, whose regime brought ABK? Right? That move was made for that purpose. So I don't look at it as gotcha moment if it wasn't for. That's what you invest if you are serious in gaming. That's what they did, and thus they're gonna reap the benefits of that said revenue. So that's where the difference is. So we'll see how it goes over time. But as far as this generation and next generation, Xbox is in a unique position of saying, no, we're still making hardware. We're still committed to it. So at that point, it's not Sega.
Yeah. Colt, we talked a little bit about Activision's new studio. I was kind of wondering if you had any thoughts about Elsewhere Entertainment.
No, yeah, I don't have anything to add to it because I haven't really looked into it. But if they're going to make something, big and blockbuster that's not a first-person
I mean, they say
competitive shooter.
They say AAA, new franchise, narrative focused. It sounds
Nah, I mean, when you say AAA, it actually turns me away or turns me off from the AAA segment has been an absolute disaster the past few years. I just want the game to be good. I want a lot of talent working on a new project, because lately the indies and the AA's have reigned supreme over, especially the past 3 years. So don't use AA or quadruple A to impress me, because we're playing a lot of AA's that are much better. So I hope it's something cool. And then there was the announcement that Toys for Bob teased maybe another Crash Bandicoot game with a
or like a Spyro game, perhaps. Yeah.
Or maybe there was they had the I don't know, like the voodoo mask as an icon, which is
but it was like
tied
purple,
to either
wasn't it,
Spyro
or something?
Yeah.
So
it
it's
was
kind
purple.
of could be Spyro, or purple is.
It could be the Crash Bandicoot mask. Who knows? But there's also rumors that somebody's working on Banjo-Kazooie.
I was thinking about that. I was gonna tease you, and then you gave the chance.
Paris has been waiting forever, as well as all the Banjo Bros out there.
You know what? Like I said, I'm at the go ahead. We've got our mature games in the pipeline, in the roadmap over the next year or two.
There we go.
You can make a Banjo game.
Let them have it, Colt. Come on, let them have it.
Yeah.
Bigger Afroman 14 with the 5 says, also Colt, Sacred Symbols brought you up again and were being mean-spirited towards you. I find it funny they talk so much about Xbox in the first place.
Yeah, well, like I said, I said I wish they would drop the ABK deal, and then when they won, I gloated. And so they have every reason to mock me for gloating ABK, and then look at what ABK does. You and I kind of feel like ABK has caused Xbox to be more multi-platform than ever. So I mean, go ahead and gloat, make fun of it all you want, I suppose. But hey, I'm the first one to tell you, I was just as surprised as anybody else was. I think a lot of these people who said I was right were right by absolute miracle.
Most of these people who said I was right were shitting their fucking pants because they thought Xbox was about to be a monopoly.
Rand, language.
I'm just saying, please. I don't care. That's my usage of language in this. I'll get away with this. But half these people that are like, I try to tell you, were fucking shitting their pants.
Scared of the juggernaut.
That Xbox was going to be a monopoly.
How about
come on?
How about those guys that were saying, "Oh, it's a monopoly"? Here's my favorite one, and I do not like bringing up other people's names, so I'm not going to. I think it's super petty. But those people that said this is all happening at Xbox because of acquisitions, they're laying off, they're closing studios because of acquisition and consolidation. Well, why in the holy F cord is every other platform, PlayStation included, laying off people, closing studios? What, they closed 3 last year? They didn't acquire anybody. They're not running Game Pass. They're not in Game Pass. So I think it's an absolute hypocrisy to say that they were right, that this is the reason why Xbox is in the situation they are. Xbox is in this situation because the market has taken a major downturn. Everybody's in turmoil. Xbox is already in 3rd place, so they're in the worst position than anyone else to deal with this impending storm where prices need to go up. Revenues are so razor thin that PlayStation themselves is frightened into changing their entire business model. They're going to be putting their games on day and date PC immediately. It's going to happen so much faster than we ever thought. So when people say, "Oh, I was right. I was so smart." I've said I was right and all that stuff, but that's not why Xbox is in this situation. Game Pass didn't cause it. They're dead wrong. Xbox doubled down and said, our games are going to, Sarah Bond said it 3 days ago or 4 days ago. Our first party games are going day and date in Game Pass. Now, what she didn't say was, they're telling me we got to raise the price and we're going to maybe we're going to make a tier and then, hide the first party games behind the most expensive one where Rand says 80% of people are anyway. I wouldn't defend it, but I'm just speculating when I say it. Okay. That's the reality of it, is that they weren't right. And because of Game Pass and because Xbox owns all these great studios and they're going to push all these big first party games out into the stratosphere, they will have really great revenue and profit growth, and they will be a great big platform. They'll be bigger than they've ever been. It's just not the way that I ever thought it would be. Is that fair enough?
Well, to be fair, PlayStation did go through a ton of acquisitions from 2020 to recently.
Well, their whole time. Yeah.
I mean, like you saying, like, oh, the layoffs are about from acquisitions or whatever. I mean, they acquired Bungie, and Bungie's gone through a bunch of layoffs. PlayStation acquired a whole bunch of studios in the recent years. So some of that, I don't know. Can you factor to overhiring? Like you made all these acquisitions, and because of the downturn, now you need to get rid of them, and our margins are small because we're trying to sell more than the PlayStation 4, but we can't. So we need to cut price on the PS5, and we can't cut the price fast enough or get the components down. I think there is some like acquisitions. Like clearly, Microsoft had to lay off. They laid off 1,900 people a couple months ago, and I think that was strictly due to the acquisition of ABK. They getting rid of redundant jobs and stuff like that. So I think some of the acquisitions have to do with how quickly these companies grew, and now they're all backpedaling because they're like, oh shit, we thought we'd have all these new gamers from the pandemic, and now we don't. So we need to scale back a little bit. So
that's a good point. I think both of you made a good point. To me, it's a nuanced conversation. It's not black and white. It's not, oh my God, just this one thing happened, and as a result, that's why. You know what I'm saying? I do feel there's so many factors that led us to that situation. But I do want to stress what you said, Rand, which is kind of like, we have to admit, though, from an industry standpoint, that there are a lot of these issues that are not isolated to Xbox. And that's the part that has my frustration, because people are acting like layoffs are not going down across the industry, in addition to studio closures. We are seeing it. So I think that's the thing. We're in this weird inflection point where the industry definitely expanded way too fast. And the sad part is we're still not out of it. Right? We're still seeing it right now. So I think we got to have a more critical eye and a nuanced conversation instead of making very bold proclamations as far as this is exactly the reason why this happened and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, even let's talk about another publisher that was recently hit by this, and one that Xbox fans have consistently been like, when you bring in these games over, and it's Square Enix.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Square Enix came out and they said, hey, we are aggressively going to pursue a multi-platform strategy that includes Nintendo platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and PCs, because they're going to try to strengthen customer contact points to shift to this multi-platform strategy. Mainly because, I mean, I know like there's been debates about why they're doing this or whatever, but I mean, it was explicitly said that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy 16, and Foam Stars all sold less than expected. But then again, Square Enix, has Square Enix ever said a game is sold up to their expectations? I feel like they never have, right? So apparently Final Fantasy 16 sales were reportedly in line with expectations when it was released, but it couldn't keep momentum and eventually failed to reach Square Enix's total goal for the financial year. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Foam Stars, meanwhile, failed to reach internal targets from day one, but the publisher was confident that Final Fantasy 16 would be able to achieve its goal over its 18-month plan, while Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Foam Stars weren't as much as expected, but that didn't mean the sales were bad, but it seems like they underperformed. Those were all console exclusive to the PlayStation. Now Square's going aggressively performing a multi-platform strategy. Colt, I mean, I don't know. It feels like this was just always going to happen, right? Just the way the industry is headed. To want to sell your game, you want to sell it to the most people possible, and it sort of felt like, at least to me, that Square was essentially kind of sabotaging the sales and reputation of their own franchise a little bit. Like Final Fantasy.
Well, I mean, it's always bothered me, and I am not a Final Fantasy fan. So
no, you are not. You are not.
Yeah, I mean, I beat Final Fantasy 15, and I was like, that Backstreet. I like Backstreet Boys a lot.
Oh,
but yeah, my problem with Final Fantasy is it's a multi-platform franchise, and right now there are just as many Final Fantasy games on Xbox as there are on PlayStation. Because of back compat, like there's the same amount of games, but PlayStation has different ones, right? So there's just as many Final Fantasy games on Xbox, but then to Money Had Away, one of the most favorite ones that is remade, is so dumb. While the same people said, how could you even try and put Elder Scrolls or the next Fallout exclusive? Like that's not your franchise. Like, what do you think Final Fantasy is? Like you took the most beloved one, a really fantastic remake, and you money hatted it. And hey, they got burned. Not enough people bought it. Half of their users are on PS4, so the PS5 sequel, the Rebirth, really burned them. So Phil went out there and said, "Hey, let's shake hands. We need to get these games to everybody." And now you're seeing Foam Stars and Final Fantasy 16 did not sell well enough and to make the money back. Someone even said in the chat like that Spider-Man 2 hasn't turned a profit. It has turned a profit very well at this point, but it took a while. Alan Wake hasn't turned a profit. Yeah, like this exclusivity nonsense of timed exclusivity or money hatting games is not going to work anymore. That's my take. I don't think it's going to work
because like
anymore.
games are just too expensive, and
because
they need to sell more and more to reach whatever threshold they need to reach.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a change in spending habits where.
I mean, everything's more expensive
honest.
now. Inflation, like I feel like every time I go to buy something, I always buy. It's like, wait a minute, it's 50 cents more. Like, what the hell? Like everything is more expensive.
It's $45 to get Taco Bell for my family of 4. Yeah, it's highway robbery. It's worth it, but it's highway robbery. But I think if you're a modern person today in entertainment, services are king. Subscription services rule the world right now. I bet you if I polled the audience, we all have probably 8 subscriptions that we rely on every month on TV and music and movies.
Okay, which ones do you have, Colt?
I mean, I have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Paramount, Peacock, Game Pass. What else do I have? That's 6. Oh, Spotify and YouTube. Yeah. There's 8.
So you got
and
8.
And I use those all the time, right? That easily 8.
Cock, how many do you got? Which ones do you have?
Maybe 6 on Netflix, Game Pass, Paramount, HBO Max, Spotify. Yeah, Peacock, because I think they made me bend the knee in football. Trying to think. It's still probably like with Disney. I think, yeah, I still got the Disney Plus joint. So, yeah.
So I got Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Paramount, Disney Plus, Game Pass, Spotify.
Yep.
So I mean, I think I have 7. Oh, and I have YouTube Premium. That's so
yeah.
I have
there you go. I got that too.
You can't use YouTube without YouTube
Rand has
Premium.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, my OnlyFans subscription.
Rand has my socks OnlyFans, or just videos of my socks laying on the floor. Yeah, that's Rand's favorite sub.
You're a wild boy.
Yeah.
Rand calls me up, Colt, why aren't you updating your OnlyFans? I need to see more socks. Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. No, that's it. I mean, 8's probably a pretty good number. I'm looking at the chat. Some people say they don't really. Looks like 6 is a pretty good.
I mean, I could probably get rid of Spotify and maybe Paramount Plus and stuff, but like Netflix is kind of one of those that is like needs to be there, even though they're gonna raise prices. Game Pass Ultimate. Kind of need that.
Hey, and then there's people that
do premium.
They have channel memberships or Patreons that they love. Like, they get weekly content.
I have like 6 Patreon memberships. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, my point being that maybe people don't really buy as much as they used to. Not saying that. Well, I guess I am kind of saying that. Maybe people are more apt to like, I just want to get everything on my subscription. Like, I just get all this stuff all the time.
Or a lot of people you have these big expensive games, but also the games that are played the most are all free. So why do I have to spend $70 on a new game when I can just go play Fortnite for free and spend $70 on like skins in that game if I wanted to?
Fallout's coming to Fortnite.
I would imagine.
What is the Fallout content?
I don't know.
Do you mess around with a little bit of Fortnite here or there at all, or what?
You'd have to
That's
ask
King.
Cog.
That's
I
King.
know
Yes,
that's
that's King
King's.
David Tag.
I know King does. You're not King.
He's a
I'm asking
Fortnite
you.
main.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? But,
You don't mess with it though. You don't like
look,
the.
it's not that I hated the game. When I go front, when they put in no build mode, I was like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah, that's
And
when I
remember-
started playing.
Yeah, when they UE5 dropped, and I'm like, wow, the 60 frames. And I was like, man, and no build mode. And then I ain't gonna lie, they're so damn huge as far as the relationships that they have. So like when
It's
they
awesome.
had like Destiny stuff in there, they had Marvel stuff in there, and I'm a big surfer. I'm like, all right, I gotta log in and get the content.
I got
But
the
it is
Dua
fun.
Lipa dance when I
Oh
take
my
somebody
God.
down. Oh yeah.
But it is
hey
fun.
man,
I
that
admit.
thing makes my Series X like it blows some hot air when I'm playing Fortnite because that Unreal Engine 5, it's a beauty. It's a really beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, shout out to King. He's the main of the crew of Fortnite. That's what he do.
Cog only
Yeah.
gets in there if they offer a skin.
Yep.
He really,
literally.
really wants.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Our buddy our
Mhm.
buddy Forte, he spent a pretty penny on. He's got a collection of the cutest Fortnite girls ever. He was showing them off one night. I was like, "Oh,
Jeez.
Forte, you got a real problem, brother. Like you're spending some money." He goes, "I'm not gonna lie, I could buy a new car with this."
Special Nick spends a lot of money
hilarious.
on them Fortnite skins too.
Them
Who does?
skins,
So,
bruh.
Special Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cog, you got
Good to-
anything you want to add to the Square Enix going multi-platform stuff? Is it just kind of to be
Yeah.
expected the way everything was heading?
I mean, it was to me. They were like the last ball to drop. I've always looked at them as like the mercenaries of the industry, where they had these great, compelling titles, but they just would just operate weirdly. Like, you know, Octopath would be on Nintendo, but then not this one, and Octopath 2 is on, not on Xbox, but on Play. They were just all over the place, and I think that ultimately that strategy they realized is not working. Was that profits were down 70%, and that's why I tell people once they go to see profit. Oh no, we're gonna have to make some change. And I did think it was extremely significant to see the CEO of Square Enix and during the event that they had and come out on stage with Phil, and then them mention to Phil that we are looking to bring our titles over to Xbox. So I thought that was extremely significant. I thought that to me represented the change in the philosophy. And again, not to harp on the whole leadership thing again. And I went the first topic is just that. For a person who lives on a platform, who plays on Xbox almost 95% of the time, it excites me when these Japanese titles are on the platform. I remember when they were not. I remember when the Tekkens and the Street Fighters and the Final Fantasies were not on this platform, and this current regime has brought that. So yeah, maybe I'm a little defensive with it, but I told people that this was going to happen. I told people Square Enix, the way they were operating, they are giving clear indicators that they are looking to expand it. And I always felt they were missing out money by not putting them on PC initially. So maybe it was contractually the deals that they had. I don't know what PlayStation in terms of Final Fantasy and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll be honest, I expect to see a splash this year, or at least an announcement of something that they're working, whether it be a Final Fantasy 16 or something coming in Xbox. I do see this significant shift from them.
Okay. We got a super chat here from Gamesley. We do have a bunch of super chats. I'll get through them all, even if like Colt and Cog have to leave at some point. But he says, Rand, hype check on Hellblade 2 and the Proteus controller, winky face. Now, we can't talk about Hellblade 2 other than to say, I'm playing Hellblade 2. But did you guys see the Proteus controller that was announced that Microsoft is doing for accessibility?
Yeah, shout out to Gamesley, man. He put me on. That is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the dexterity and things that we forget, are needed for accessibility. I thought this is really cool. It's a tremendous step, from the adaptive controller, which again was phenomenal at its time. I remember the gentleman's name. I interviewed him, Solomon Romney, I believe his name was, and I think me and Sam told her. Yeah. It was. I believe it was no. This was like back in the E3 days. I actually think this was the E3 like 2018, 2019.
Oh, I talked to him. I talked to them last PAX.
Oh wow!
And well, let me help the audience since they can't see this. Mm-hmm. This controller it's like how do you explain it? It's like interconnecting cubes, like you can connect them together, and then each cube has like face buttons or thumbsticks, a thumbstick or a trigger, and you could put them in various configurations. You can build them to like a flight stick. You can put them in a square bundle. So if you were differently abled, where you only had one hand, you could basically play a video game with all of your fingers in the palm of your hand. Or you can just make some cool type of rig. And they showed me they connect together via a magnet and connecting system. And I showed them my channel, and they said, we'll send you these things. They're pretty expensive. We'll send you one of them. You could do a video on it. And I never got around to it, but you just have to see them. They're cubes that would be about 1.5 inches on each side. And you've got the actual Xbox buttons and the thumbsticks. And when he showed me, like, you know how you get the thumbstick to swivel, he's like, you set it on the bottom, you can hold it like a joystick. Yeah. And then you have the buttons at the top for like your firing button. If you want to play like a space fighting game, you could make a whole configuration. They're completely customizable. And Xbox has been kind of talking to them for a while because it could be part of their adaptability and accessibility program. And so cool. And I wish I would have done something with them, but I don't normally do that kind of content on my channel.
Yeah, shout out to Gamesley. Yeah, he put me onto it. Outstanding development and accessibility for sure.
Man. James Wiseau with the 1999 Rand Colt, what's up? So, Hellblade 2, how is it? Come on now, we're all friends here.
If I was you, I would watch all of the promotional materials, go back and watch the trailers in 4K on your nicest TV. They do that. Like,
yes.
Yeah, there you go.
They put out a lot of nice promotional materials.
Mr. EF with the 4.99. So, are we calling the next Xbox Terminarch? I mean, I don't. That's not what I would call. What would you call the next Xbox, Cog?
Oof. Don't get me with these names.
Yeah, I know. I know. Cole would be like Xbox Series X2, or right?
Yeah, that's easy. Xbox Series X2.
Guy. X2. That's what we do.
Xbox Series X2. I think they called this console the Xbox Series S and X because last gen it was the Xbox One S and One X. I think they decided, hey, we're gonna have a couple more consoles. Let's just call it Series. And just like the iPhone or like the Samsung Galaxy, they'll just say they can finally just say, welcome the new X2 and S2. But I would think that we get an X2 and then a handheld, not an S2.
Do you think they changed the letter then to like something else, like the Xbox Series L or something?
Nope.
We cannot
can't do that.
Don't you do that. Don't you put that on us, friend.
No. So what would you? Because you couldn't really say it was an S. I mean, I guess you could, but would they change it to like? Because I've seen people suggest like call it the Xbox Go or something. But I don't know what number you would use. Maybe Xbox C for compact. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the smart thing would be to call the console, the stand-up console that goes by your TV would be the X2, and then the handheld would be the S2. But you know, my favorite part is never count out Xbox and Microsoft to name their product the most ridiculously illogical name ever. You know?
That is for sure. We have Tony Osborne with the 4.99. Odds on Call of Duty being he says cute gen only, but I'm assuming he means next gen only. Because we sort of talked a little bit about that, Colt, while you were gone. You know, the idea of like maybe to sell, you know, because both PlayStation and Xbox, like their users are like half on PS5, half on PS4, half on Xbox One, half on Xbox Series X and S. A way to get people to buy the game, just like Grand Theft Auto 6 is, to make it exclusive to next gen or current gen. But I mean, what are the odds? I don't know if this is known. I don't know if like Charlie Intel or any of the Call of Duty accounts have said. I don't think they have, but I would say maybe it's 50-50. Potentially, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Brett Bingham with the 5. They can charge $25 for an Xbox Friends and Family plan with COD. I would be okay with that. Cole, what the hell happened to the Family plan? Where is it?
I mean, I swear that Xbox was like ready to announce something with it, and now the rumor, instead of a family plan, yet another price increase. I could swear that there was like internal talk, or that Phil had addressed it. Am I completely out of it, or what?
I mean, they were testing it in like 7 markets.
Right.
And then they ended the testing, and we have heard nothing since. I wouldn't be surprised if it never comes to fruition. I think they were struggling with maybe payments. Maybe the third parties didn't like it. I don't know, but I just have this feeling that we're never going to see the light of day of the Game Pass family plan like how they wanted it to be.
Yeah, and it was interesting that the regions that they were testing were not in the United States.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, this seemed like something that's, they were trying to do in markets maybe they were struggling in, and just now with way things are with ROI, that those plans may have changed.
Yeah, King Kaios with the 10 says, with Game Pass being Xbox's main focus and the hardware being its main contributing factor, how are they expecting it to grow with hardware down across the board, but more so for Xbox? That is the question, isn't it?
That's the dilemma.
That is the question. How do you expect to grow if you're putting all your games on other platforms, particularly day one? How are you going to sell hardware? How are you going to grow Game Pass? Like those are all questions that, I don't know. I don't have the answer to.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
But that's literally the dilemma. That's actually a valid point for sure.
I want to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows for just a little bit. This got finally revealed. The new Assassin's Creed game from the developers of Colt. This is from developers of Odyssey and Valhalla, right?
Yeah.
Set in Japan, finally. The discourse surrounding this game is already as toxic as it can be. But I don't know. Colt, are you excited for Assassin's Creed in Japan, essentially?
I am. Yeah. I made a whole video on it because I was really excited. The game is going to look absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be graphical showcase as they always are. And don't pretend like Assassin's Creed is not going to look amazing. They always look incredible. The setting is going to be really cool. Kind of get that like Ghost of Tsushima type thing from that we've always wanted from Assassin's Creed. So that's going to be great. The map is supposed to be as big as Origins, or what someone else said it was. They named another map.
I think it was kind of as big as Origins, but that was like the thing.
And people were like, "Oh, but Odyssey's bigger," and it's like, yeah, but Odyssey has a bunch of water, so yeah, it's going to be like mostly everyone's favorite style of Assassin's Creed because it's from that team, like you mentioned, that we love. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And when I made that video, I reported on the female samurai and the other samurai, and I just don't think of things this way. And I was like, here's the characters you'll be playing at. This has been leaked. You'll have this character and this character, and here's where they're from. And I didn't think anything of it. And then a day after my video dropped, the comments, people are complaining about the woke and the whatever words you want to use about who they chose the character. I'm like, really? Like, this is going to be a problem? And then of course it's blown up again as it's like official, because people I don't know, they're ridiculous, I suppose. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. It's the history's there. People have wanted feudal Japan for a long time, and you get to choose between two characters like you do in Syndicate. I think it's going to be really good, and people are going to say they're going to boycott it, but they're liars. They're going to pick it up and play it, or they weren't interested in Assassin's Creed anyway, so their opinion doesn't matter. But no one ever boycotts. The game's going to do. I think it'll be great.
Assassin's Creed finally going to Japan. Does that mean finally we'll have Forza Horizon in Japan for the next one, Colt?
Bro, if we don't, if the next Forza Horizon, if Forza Horizon 6 is in like Prague or Ecuador or something, I'm like, come on, man, we wanted Tokyo, like where there was smoke, there's fire. Somebody was saying something about. I think they probably planned these things out ahead of time. So yes, we need Tokyo. Don't give us some European country or make it in like Delaware. Please don't.
Yeah, and Cog, I know you got to be into Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? Like you, the Shinobi. Yeah. This has got to be something that appeals to you, yeah?
Yeah, man. My timeline blew up. I didn't know what happened, and clearly the announcement happened. I forgot that. Or what was it the day before?
It
Whatever.
was on the 15th, so yeah, 2 days ago, I believe it was.
2 days ago. Yeah. So I'm like, what is going on? And people are just tagging me like, "God, this is all we keep thinking about you. You're the Shinobi. You're the samurai." And most people know, I love Ghost of Tsushima. And I love
which out
the
on PC
setting.
right now, by the way.
Out on PC right now, and I'm about to log in on my ROG Ally and get my PlayStation trophies on PC. I'm a happy man. So for me, I'm looking at. I'm like, all right, Assassin's Creed did what Ghost of Tsushima did what I thought Assassin's Creed was gonna do, right? And they've been sitting on it. And I'm like, when are they gonna go to feudal Japan? So we heard the rumblings of Yasuke that that they were gonna do his story, which is based on a historical account, that of a samurai, African American who was brother from Africa who was made a samurai and retainer, and then the whole story behind that and how they would handle that, because there's still a lot, and there's stuff known, but there's still a lot that's not known. So there's still a lot open for interpretation. What I didn't expect was that there was also going to be a second protagonist with that, that was female and Japanese. So I saw the trailer. I'm like, man, this looks good. Now, obviously, there's a lot of responsibility here, right? They got to tell a good story. They have to make sure that what they have, if they're going the historical accurate route, is retained, or if they go on the adaptation route. So for me, I'm loving it, right? I'm going crazy. I'm like, man, this is like a dream game now for me, and I hope they nail it. My main thing now is just the gameplay loop, because I'll be honest, I think me and Colt may disagree. Like, I've been off the Assassin's Creed train for a while, so I'm kind of like,
what was the last one you played,
bro? I think I did play Valhalla, but it was just so damn long. I was just like, all right, this is wild long. So it's like, my thing is, where they lost me with Assassin's Creed is I felt like it became too action heavy.
Okay.
And my thing is, I like old school Assassin's Creed where you kind of murk between the townspeople in Jerusalem, and you know what I'm saying? You're sitting on the bench. And
Did you play Mirage, bro?
I did. I liked it. It was a good start back to core essences. Now we just need to modernize a little bit now. Like they went like so hardcore with the old school, which is fine to get back to the essence. But I listen, I'm about stealth. I'm the shinobi. I'm the gaming ninja. I'm about like the Tenchu, and you plot your
Why did they
path.
call it Assassin's Creed Shinobi though, bro? Can we get that lobby for that changed?
Hey, I'm for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. I understand, shout out to Father in the chat. Like, a lot of people like the action RPG elements. Don't get me wrong. I understand that my version of Assassin's Creed is not the more popular versions anymore. I know that they blew up when they went action RPG heavy. It's just that my love for the franchise went down while it got more popular. So this, I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for to see the beauty of Ghost of Tsushima is a story of someone who was raised as a samurai, and then understands in order for his country to survive, he's got to take on the art of the ninja and the art of shinobi. So I want to know how they marry anything, if the two protagonists tell different stories. But all that other stuff, like, look, I try to stay out of all that political correct stuff and, all the nonsense about it. There are people who are extremely excited about this game, and there's people that's like, they're not going to support it. You got to vote with your wallet, do what you got to do. But I will say this, for the people who are anti, they're trying to woke my games or whatever, we do have to understand, I don't know the stewards of this game, I don't know if this is a Sweet Baby thing or whatever it is, but we do have to understand that even if you may not like the stewards of something, we have to respect that diversity and inclusion is important. We do have to understand that it is needed in gaming, because prior to this, again, I've been gaming majority of my life. I can't even remember when I saw like the first Black character in the game, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So we do have to understand that things can't stay status quo, and there's never any, updates or things to stuff. And you got to support with your wallet. But for me, this is something I'm extremely excited about. I'm not going to allow anybody to steal my joy about it. And the beauty of it is Yasuke was actually a real historical figure. So it's dope for me.
Yeah. I mean, I loved Odyssey. I didn't play Origins. Because I have this thing sometimes. I know. Hey, and I know both of you are still on me for getting the Cyberpunk.
I'm not mad at you that you need to go back. I'm just upset that you didn't get to experience it, because it's going to be tough to go back. I mean, it would absolutely hold up. It's 4K 60.
No, I mean,
on
here's
Series
the thing.
X.
Here's so
you would love it. You'd love it.
I did play Mirage last year, which was a throwback to previous Assassin's Creed, but it wasn't great. right? It was like, okay, it was a good time filler. It gave you like, okay, it's like, oh, it's the older Assassin's Creed games, but it wasn't like the other older ones were better. But the new Assassin's Creed, which are incredibly successful, I've just never jived with, except for Odyssey. I loved Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I loved it so much.
Yeah, people love that game.
I had over 100 hours, and there's a thing, because I think sometimes open worlds can get tedious after a while, right? So while I didn't play Origins, and then I loved Odyssey, which I believe were back-to-back years, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like Origins was 2017, and then Odyssey was 2018. So I played Odyssey, and I'm like, oh man, this is amazing. I tried playing Valhalla for an hour, and I just couldn't get into it. So I didn't play Valhalla, which everybody tells me is just bloated and just huge.
It's too big, yeah.
So to me, it's like, I'm ready for the next Assassin's Creed. I like the setting. The characters look like could be really cool. So like, I'm not burnt out on Assassin's Creed at this point. So like, maybe I would be if I had played Valhalla and Origins and this other one. So yeah, I'm kind of digging the art, the red they got, because it was codenamed Assassin's Creed Red.
Yep.
But I one of the other things that, you mentioned like people boycotting it. I saw Tom Henderson tweet out 6 hours ago, Assassin's Creed Shadows pre-orders are looking very strong. I don't have the exact numbers yet, but no one in the know is disappointed with them. And then the one and only Gene Park tweeted, never change gamers, with the screenshot of boycott Modern Warfare 2. We want dedicated servers. And it was a screenshot of everybody who had joined this member list on Steam of boycott and Modern Warfare 2. And it's just all of them are playing Modern Warfare 2. So even though people are like saying, oh, we're going to boycott this stuff, it's like, yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. There's a discussion to be had about the pricing, though. Because once again, people are really upset about like $70 for the main game, $110 for the middle tier, and like $130 for the high tier or whatever.
Cry me a river. I mean, just buy the version you want. What the heck is wrong with people?
I'm just saying, people...
Don't you know, in the capitalist market, if you want to charge people extra to have extra things that they may or may not want, they have the opportunity to pay that. Like, I don't... am I off base? Like, if you want to buy the collector's edition with the freaking statue, have at it. Like, if you want to pay $3 or if you want to pay $20 to get the game a day or two early, go for it. For once, I'm going to sound like the villain. For once, I would like to champion that the developers and publishers get to create a market situation where they can make a little more money for people to get something a little extra because they say, you know what, I'm really excited about Star Wars Outlaws. Like, I'm super hyped. I'm excited for it. If someone's like, man, I love Star Wars so much, I want to buy the Ultimate Edition. I want the steel case. I want the little gummy critter to pop on my desk or whatever it is. Let people do that. Stop gatekeeping people. Let people spend the extra money if they want to. If you don't have it, if you're like, you know what, I'm going to wait till, it goes on sale, or I'm going to wait till all the reviews go out and my best buddy or my favorite YouTuber says that he recommends it, go do that. Like, when I see this tiered system and people start getting upset, I'm like, come on, guys.
They got upset about Star Wars Outlaws, although I think one of it was because there was like an exclusive Jabba the Hutt mission.
Yeah, that Jabba the Hutt mission.
And they were like, oh, you're making me pay $130.
Wait, is that the one that's hidden, like PlayStation money had at a Jabba the Hutt mission?
No, I don't think PlayStation did. This is just like, I think, exclusive to that $130
Oh,
version.
that's okay.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
There's also
saying corporate Colt. Yeah. I know.
You getting the corporate Colt?
You get corporate Colt. After Colt said they should, I will not defend a $2 price increase of Game Pass.
When you're increasing price on something that you were supposed to already get. Yeah. But yes, I can see how people are. I'm not a like draw a line in the sand type of guy. Like, I can also see that some of that content should probably be there day one. But this DLC thing's been going on for 20 years. Like,
yeah, I don't. That's kind of personally. It's interesting that is it because of the 3-day early access or 4-day early access where it's
people really don't like that? Like, Fonz doesn't like. Fonz in the chat. Shout out to Fonz for Games Talk Live and his Mysterious World.
Yeah,
creepy, scary podcast on Wednesdays. Fonz is not a fan of the I paid $20 or $30 extra and I get it early, because Fonz and I like to talk about the the FOMO. Like you may not like, oh, who cares if so and so gets played early, but the FOMO does creep in. You're like, oh man, I don't want to pay the extra.
That sounds like a you problem to me, though.
Oh,
that really does, because I couldn't care less. Like,
I mean, games are already
if it's not a game that
but...
I don't want to play, like Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah,
maybe I'm willing to pay that early, right? I think there was a thing where it was like Suicide Squad, which I played and you didn't. Suicide Squad had early access, if I'm not mistaken, right? But my point is,
Cog, you missed it. Like, but before Suicide Squad came out, like I had played the beta and I hated the game. And Ram would call me every day that week. He's like, "Hey, Colt, we gonna buy the $100 version, get it early?" I'm like, "Stop it, Ran!"
Like, because you were saying, "Look, we got nothing to play," but even though I knew I was gonna play Suicide Squad, I didn't care enough to spend $100 to play it early. I was more than happy to wait, and I couldn't care less if somebody spent the extra money to play it early. So the same thing with Assassin's Creed Shadows. If somebody's wants to spend $50 extra or whatever to play it early, then whatever. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I'll play it when I want to play it. If I want to spend the money because there's a perk, then I'll spend that money, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you're getting caught by FOMO, it's an interesting and deliberate tactic.
It is a you problem.
That is
FOMO
a you problem.
for sure.
You just got to be like, I'm not worried about this. It's
self-control.
I'm not
Hey,
worried about
remember the days, Cog? Remember the days like about 10 years ago when people would pay like $1,000 for a game because their buddy would pull it out of the back room at the Best Buy they worked at?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
And then they would get banned on Xbox Live when they popped the disc in.
They popped it in. Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, but that was the original. That was the early access FOMO. You know, people are like, "Oh, bro, I got Grand Theft Auto 5 2 days early. My buddy works at Costco and he pulled it out of the back room." And the next day, he's like, "My Xbox Live account got banned," and he beat the game before anybody got to play it. You waited years.
I actually have a story about that.
Ooh,
I actually have a story.
time.
I'm pretty sure I've told this story before on Xbox 2, but it's probably been a while. I paid.
All right, chat. Everybody, grab popcorn.
I paid $200.
What you paid
to play BioShock 1 a week early. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if you remember, but Kmart, for whatever reason, Kmart doesn't exist anymore, I don't believe. But back then, in the year of our Lord, 2007, what is that? 17 years ago. Jesus Christ.
Let's go.
Kmart accidentally sold the game early by 2 weeks.
What?
Right? One of my buddies had bought 3 copies, and he was like, "I got 2 copies I'm willing to sell." And I was like, I immediately DM'd him. I'm like, "Bro, can I get one of those?" And he was like, "Absolutely, $200." It
wasn't DM back then. You mailed him a letter.
So he had a strong arm.
So it was like $200, and I'm like, okay. And he mailed it, right? And so I got it. And this is probably one of the reasons why I love BioShock 1 so much, is I got to play it, and none of the reviews were out. So I didn't know anything about the game outside of the trailers. There wasn't like, remember, because BioShock 1's like 90 plus meta. Like, I forget the exact score, but
Joe Herrera says, "What a friend, $200."
I know, right? Like, what a friend, like $200. But
that's
dude,
a good guy right there.
I like that experience of BioShock 1, playing it a week early, not knowing anything about the game, not seeing any of the review scores, not knowing about any twists that are in the game, was one of those moments that I still think about to this day. Because I was playing, I'm like, this game's incredible, and then you get to the twist, it's like, what the hell? And I just remember, like, then the reviews came out and how it was highly praised. Like, it is a gaming experience that I will treasure forever. And I only had to pay $200 to have that experience. So yeah, that is.
I love it.
Yeah, that is definitely.
Was there a problem with popping that disc in?
No,
360?
no, I didn't get any issues or whatever.
Yeah, Microsoft really hated when someone would load up a game before they were supposed to. I heard about that quite a bit. They would, yeah. But at the
end of the day, it's all about value to you. Do you value this thing at whatever price point it is? And if the answer to that question is no, then don't pay for it. Don't forget, Ubisoft Plus has a subscription service. So if you don't want to pay $70, you could subscribe for a month, and they give you the most expensive version.
They give you the ultimate version.
So I mean, like you could subscribe for whatever a month, beat Star Wars Outlaws if you want, and then unsubscribe, and you game the system.
It's hard to say when a game is come and gone. Like, would we have paid extra? Because I remember counting the literal milliseconds to get my hands on Starfield, and I'm going to share with you guys a secret story that Rand makes fun of me every chance he gets.
I still do.
Okay, so here it is. I'm on vacation at the beach with my family, waiting for the email from Bethesda that I'm going to be able to review Starfield, because I've been talking about it, had all these videos with lots of views, and I was starting to hear about people, and one of them was Iron Lord's own Lord Attic got invited into the realm of reviewing Starfield, and I did not have an email, and I'm at the beach with my family trying to enjoy this vacation, and in the back of my mind I'm like, they're not going to send me Starfield. It's going to be bad. And we're on the way home driving, and I look at Twitter, and Rand's like, all right, looks like I'm going to be reviewing Starfield. Just got my code today. And I get on my phone, and I text Rand. And what did the text say, Rand?
So the text say it wasn't, hey, congrats on getting Starfield or whatever. How is it? The text was, how'd you get that code?
It wasn't no love.
How'd you get that code?
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, nothing.
No, bro, it was just all lowercase. Where'd you get that code?
That boy went straight
I'm
to
like, I have
business.
13 more subscribers than Rand. How did he get a code? And so Ram's like, Colt.
I ain't go front. Them codes do be making people evaluate life sometimes. You be like, man, I ain't get the joint.
Cog, he doesn't let me he will not let it go. Like, he gets me every time. Whenever we talk about Starfield, I'm like, oh bro, I load up Starfield, the new 60 frames mode's really great. And he goes, where'd you get that code?
I love that. That's balls right there.
Yeah.
I would definitely use that on you all the time from that point.
Yeah, you better. But man, I mean, we were waiting to first launch that game. Oh man, that was one of them, highly anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I didn't think I was gonna get a review code, and then I did, and I was like so surprised. And like,
yeah, so was I. Where'd you get that code?
And then like you hadn't gotten one yet, and I was like, that's odd. And then like I hadn't talked to Colt all day, and Colt's just like, where'd you get that code?
Why you gotta do it in the?
I don't know, because that's how I read it.
Like,
that's how I read the text. Like, where'd you get that code?
Yep.
Yeah, like
when you get a work email, like you can feel out the tone. You just know, right?
And I knew Colt was probably freaking out. He didn't have one yet, and he's seen all these people post it, and he's like, "Where the fuck is mine?" And then to make matters worse, Rand has one. And I'm not really a Bethesda dude because I hadn't played Fallout 4. My last Bethesda experience was with Fallout with Skyrim, and Colt's like, big Bethesda fan, and he's like, what the fuck? Where's my
fresh shit went out the window at that moment.
Oh yeah. He'll never let me live it down.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't even know how we got on that. We're talking about FOMO, I guess. But here's a cool question before we get into another topic. So I'll ask Cog, and then we'll ask Rand. Cog, what is an upcoming game that you would consider paying some extra if somebody could slip you the code early? Cog, what game are you willing to shell out $200 to your close friend so he can scalp you? What would you be willing to pay $200 to get your hands on a few days early? That's upcoming.
It actually already happened already. But I mean, I didn't pay $200, but that the game that I would have went that crazy, it already released. It would have been Tekken, because I'm not gonna front, the way you hounded your peoples, I was hitting my people up like, yo, how you got that Tekken code fit? I go with you. Like, Tekken is life to me. Like,
were you like all lowercase?
Oh,
where'd you get that code?
where you get that gold, bro? What you do for that? Like what? I ain't go front. I ain't go for like I'm so like
Were you like licking your lips and everything when you were
bro,
typing it?
LL style, the whole thing. I was just like, what's going on, man? I need to know. Like I've been following that franchise since PlayStation 1, every iteration since the arcade. So that's my favorite fighter. So like when I knew, and then this one, obviously, Unreal Engine 5, it looks so good, the potential. And I was just like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to get my hands on it. As far as like upcoming, nothing probably to that level. Obviously, we're playing Hellblade now, so I'm very, happy about that. That would have been in the category. Other than that, Starfield was last year. That was probably one of them. This year, most of the stuff I want, but I'm not gonna say to that level. I would say I definitely am interested in Indiana Jones, but I'm not gonna say to that level where I'm just like, yo, I'm gonna spend 200 or whatever. Not this year.
How about next year? Is it would you shell out $200 to get Grand Theft Auto 6 in your hot little hands?
That's what I was thinking of.
GTA?
That's what I was thinking.
GTA
might do it.
6. Yeah.
That's going to be a hard wait.
Yeah, GTA is serious. Being I'm a Marvel guy like that, I'm an MCU guy. I wish Jez was here because he would hate the MCU.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that like I want to know what's going on with that Blade. Let's say let's say Blade was.
Okay.
What are you more excited about, Blade or Marvel's 1939?
1943, I think, right?
43, yeah. It's one of the 2077, yeah.
That's the one with Cap and Panther.
Black
Which one is
Panther,
that?
Yeah. Which one are you more excited about?
I'm gonna be real. I'm still gonna say Blade. It's something about Arcane with that franchise, and he's a character that he doesn't get a lot of. He's been in games before, but he having his own standalone title. And I love the aesthetic of that initial trailer that we got. What was it? The Game Awards when Dinga came out and they showed it and the trailer was fire. The tone was dope.
I have it memorized.
Yeah, bro. Like I was and then they go on with the French vibe to it. They give it a nice. Yeah, I think it's Blade. That's probably the next one where I'm just like, yo, I can't wait. I need to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that'd probably be one of those for me.
Yeah, it'd probably be GTA 6 for me, but I wouldn't be against paying money early for that Fable.
Fable's fire.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see something more, but yeah, Fable would be a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me look at some of these super chats. We got Dead Planet, $2. Should Xbox drop a handheld alongside Call of Duty? What do you think? I don't think it's ready personally.
Yeah, I would be early. It looks like I don't know if you saw the report from Insider Gaming just now.
I just brought that up because I just saw it come on Twitter.
Yeah.
New claim suggests next Xbox console will launch in 2026. So a claim from a Call of Duty data miner suggests that the next Xbox console could launch as soon as 2026. And it's this person called the Ghost of Hope on Twitter saying, hearing from trusted sources that the next Xbox is planned to be released in late 2026. Very likely that COD 2026 is a day one release for it.
Day one? Wow.
Day one release for that game. I mean,
we
there have been
thinking?
rumors for a while now. I think Colt Eastwood's even made like 3 videos about Xbox in 2026. So
I'm feeling confident that it's 2026. I can see it happening.
Yeah, I can see it, from the standpoint of, I think we talked about this, Rand, where it's like, historically, the last, 2 generations, they've been always launching at the same time. And there's a part of me that is curious of an Xbox having a software title lineup that's ready to go with brand new hardware where they have the market, quote unquote, to themselves. Because we would assume that if the PS5 Pro drops at the end of this year, it's going to be a while before they go as the next generation console. So there is a part of me, almost like shades of the 360 era, in the sense of having, whether it be a year or 2 years to the market to yourself with a lineup of games ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So that we know about, because we know it's to the point they have so many games. It's going to get to the point now where they have to space out launches, right, and releases. And now with ABK, we know that they're doing the Xbox Direct, directly for us, so that it's going to be a main focus. I mean, it would make sense if you're going to launch it, right, to have it alongside of the franchise, the biggest franchise in gaming, that's part of your game studio. So and I think that was probably one of the Achilles heels of the series consoles. It's like good year, bad year, but one of the bad years was them not having Halo Infinite ready, right? Remember, Halo Infinite was on the back of the Series X box as something that was supposed to launch. So if you have Call of Duty, you have all these titles that are ready to go, it's an interesting proposition. And again, if you're trying to improve hardware, I'm always about trying to improve them numbers, them hardware numbers. So let's see.
Yeah, them hardware numbers. We got Fonz Gaming with the 10. I just saw come across. He says, "Do you guys think we'll be able to make our own character, or will we have to play as that goblin they showed in the trailer? Also, is Xbox dying? Thanks, guys. See y'all in LA."
LA.
So, yeah, I mean, I would assume he's talking about Fable, right? Yes. Fable typically lets you choose to be male or female, right? I would imagine they would let you do that as well.
The guy, the British comedian with the glasses, is he supposed to be a character that you encounter in the game, or do you think he was the hint of the male playable character? And maybe you cross over on the
story? He was an enemy, right?
It was like it felt like he was going to be like a boss.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would imagine they let you choose. I don't know if they're going to use like an in-depth custom character creator, like a Dragon's Dogma, where like you could create Colt Eastwood if you wanted to. I don't know if they'll go that deep. Maybe they just have like because Fable's all about here's the character, and then you do good, you like kind of get the halo above you, but if you do evil, you get the horns and stuff. I don't know if they'll really lean into that direction where like your features get more evil or more angelic depending on the choices and the decisions you make. Maybe they do. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know. Let me ask you guys this. The showcase is next month. Do you expect to see Fable again?
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no. Colt, what do you think?
I would have said yes, but then I'm thinking it's probably better to show more or show it at the Direct in 2025 for the release that year.
I'm spot on with you, Colt. That's how I
I'd like to see it. I mean,
not that I don't want to see it.
We literally got 18 seconds of gameplay in the last trailer. Fantastic trailer.
I mean, you can only have so many trailers to show, right?
Do you think they'll... Well, can I ask you the hard-hitting journalist question?
Let's go.
Do you think that Playground will flex back a little bit and change the way she looks to kind of soften the blow from the community? Because it's a pretty large amount of the gaming world that complained about how she doesn't look like the woman that they modeled her face after. Do you think that they'll kind of go back there and adjust her a little bit?
We kind of were talking a little bit about this with Assassin's Creed Shadows, where people are like boycott, and then it was like kind of like, yeah, you ain't boycotting. So I sort of feel the same with this. So,
well, I don't think people are going to play the game, especially if it gets received well. But do you think that Playground would say, you know what, people really, because we've seen this, like, remember, it's not the same thing what they did with the Sonic movie, but
Sonic movie
literally saved the movie, was going back and making, but what they did was made Sonic look more like he should look.
Right.
But this is a different thing. She doesn't have the snaggletooth in real life, and I'm sorry. Let me redirect this because it could come off as really, really insensitive. But she obviously does not look like the actress. They tweaked her a little bit, and that's normal to model a person's face and change it a little bit. But I don't know. It just seems like if I was Playgrounds, like, man, they really kind of made a big quote unquote stink about this. Why don't we just kind of like, let's go over the character model's face, let's just kind of clean it up a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they stand on their square only because of the fact, like Rand said, historically Fable has always had like this creator player. So in my mind, that's a placeholder character that they're utilizing for a trailer, as opposed to, again, if the vision is still classic Fable, right, where you make your character from the ground up, and then as the story goes on, depending on your actions, you get horns or whatever, you get more angelic. So I think they probably just leave it, but it'll be interesting because I did see feedback, which is interesting. A lot of people
Mhm.
didn't like it, but also the question is that really representative of how people feel, or is it the echo chamber that is Twitter and people that's really not the consensus? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I've been following
Let's
that
ask
particular
Rand.
thread.
Rand, is
Yeah.
that an echo chamber, or do you think it's a problem that the way she looks? What's your take on that? You don't like talking about this stuff.
I honestly don't know if it's a problem or not. I mean, clearly people don't like it, but then also how much of that stuff is really kind of bandwagon hate, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I honestly, it could be a problem if it steamrolls and it gets like into a big movement, but I honestly, I don't know how to answer that question.
It doesn't change how much I want to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wasn't going to play if given the choice about like, hey, you can be male or female in that game, I'm probably going to choose a dude anyways. I know like some people will choose like, well, I want to look at a woman's ass while I play the game or whatever. I know and I did play as Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and that was the right choice. But that's more because like
she was charismatically awesome.
Yeah, like, and when I talk to people about Cyberpunk, I'm like, who do I play as, the girl or the guy? Because I'm trying to get the best performance out of the voice acting, rather than like
I think
how does the
Mil
character
V is
look.
the better actor.
Yeah, so it's like
Cyberpunk.
that's more important for me, So maybe the female voiceover in Fable would be much superior than the male voiceover. We just don't know yet. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see next time they show it. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see it at this year's, because I think we'll see Perfect Dark. I think we'll see State of Decay 3. I think we'll see the new Doom. I think they're unveiled the Gears 6, probably announced the Gears collection and stuff. So there's going to be a bunch of games that are being revealed for the first time or being essentially re-revealed. And I think Fable's next year.
Yeah.
So maybe they hold off on Fable and Clockwork Revolution and South of Midnight and hold those to like the Dev Direct in January. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they're just like, we're just gonna show this stuff. I don't know. This is like, there's so many things they could do.
Go. Yeah. And Hellblade kind of threw us off too, because there were times when I thought they weren't going to show it. Remember with Colt, they showed it last year, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they kind of maybe we ain't going to see it again. But so yeah, it is interesting. It could go either way.
They didn't need to show Hellblade at the last showcase.
I would agree.
Yeah, I was like, what was that? She screamed into a puddle in a cave and then she bounced.
He was like, yeah, what happened?
Yeah. Hey, I remember watching that scene at the Game Awards. Was it the Game? No, it was the showcase.
I think it was showcase.
Showcase.
Yeah, it was a showcase.
Yeah. Slow-mo backslap with the $10. Say, hey guys, sup my Bridge 4 brother. What's up, Slow-mo? Hey, Slow-mo. I hear Forte, your co-host, has a better PC than you now, bro. What's up with that?
Uh-oh.
You're the PC guy, You're the one that always has those numbers on the left corner of your screen telling you that it's running at 70 frames, and you're in there and your stream's being like, oh my god, I don't know if I can play this game. It's at 74 frames. I'm gonna change the settings so I can get 78 frames. Right? But yes, Forte's got a 4090 now. It's got a better PC. Are you going to be able to live with that? That Forte is
up on them.
Yeah, Forte is going to be experiencing games better than you could experience them. Is that going to be a problem? My Bridge 4 brother? I don't know. But he says, I'm wondering if COG is going to play the First Descendant this summer, especially since Destiny is going to be dead soon after that Final Shape DLC puts the final nail in it.
Let me handle my brother. Man. I love him. He's going through a bit of mourning. Division is his favorite game, and we want to pour some liquor out. Rest in peace. Send our condolences to Division Heartland that was dead on arrival this week, and he's going through a tough time. And he's just looking for a new home and live service. And we'll have him. We'll have him over at Destiny if he chooses to come over. I know he's been trying to kill Destiny for over years, many years, but he's just going through it right now. This is our best moment right now. We pray for our brother as he goes through this tough time, as we pour one last one out for the Division. Thank you.
Pour last one out for the Division. Oh, I forgot. Slow-mo's a huge fan of the Division.
Yes. That's his favorite franchise that has no engagement instead.
Oh, okay. Man, you're throwing shots at
shade.
Slow-mo. Jeez.
That's how we play. We play dirty. Me and Slow. That's my brother. I love him.
I loaded that thing back up a couple months ago, and it's so impressive. But yeah, nobody's playing it anymore. Yeah,
Say that again, Colt. What's going on?
nobody's
playing it. Do you see they just canceled a Division game, Division Heartland, that was in development for like 4 years or whatever it is, supposed to be an extraction shooter? Canceled. Done and over with.
It's real sad.
My heart goes out there for all those Division fans. Yeah. Ubisoft gonna do what Ubisoft does, though. Right?
I like the Division. I'm being messy. I do like the Division.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, no highlight. We'll see what happens with Div 3. We'll see.
Would they even do one? Because Massive did Avatar, and then they're doing Star Wars Outlaws. So
that's right. They're doing Outlaw. I forgot they pulled that team off.
Are they going to make another Division? Maybe they make another one for next gen. But we have Mr. EF with the $4.99. I pay for 3 Ultimates, but my kids tend to play free games mostly, so canceling 2. We need a family plan, and I would gladly pay 25 to 30 tops. Did this die? So, it kind of seems like it has, right? But I don't know. We'll find out eventually. Game of Groans with the 5 says, the concern is real. I've lost 7 of my Xbox friends since the multiplat news, and they have started to shift to PC and PS5. I've lost trust in the brand, to be honest.
Look, that's fair. I think anybody who's frustrated or they confused or they say, yo, there's a lack of... I think that it's fair to say that. But again, it ultimately comes down to what your goal is. If your goal, if you're here for games, then to me, it's clear as day who actually has games. But if you're here, to play list war on Twitter, who got what, then it may be a different outcome for you because
it's a losing fight right now.
Yeah, like you ain't going to be able to talk to a PlayStation fanboy to say X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? Because
they'll just say, I'll wait and play it on PS5.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's funny because those guys were like, I don't need Xbox, I got a beast PC, and then they're out there lobbying, stop putting your games on PC, PlayStation. Like I thought you had a PC, bro. Yeah, it's kind of the whole thing has become kind of a joke. But I still mess with it one time.
I will say in defense of the people who are frustrated, I am seeing, shout out to my brother Fonz, and I'm seeing some people say, you know what, I'll just go to PC and kind of get the best of all the worlds at the highest fidelity too. And ultimately, if you do that, that's what Xbox still wants you anyway. Like they don't have any problem if you're over there, so to speak. So you got to do what's best for you, man.
We have Juan with $10. He says, I don't care about the Xbox social media drama. My only concern would be if they decided to release everything in 2024 and leave almost nothing for 2025. Social media is not real life. Colt, be nice.
Oh,
he's using your tagline. But yeah, I mean,
I need to work on it too.
20.
Hey, I've got a little thought experiment for you. Sorry,
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, they got plenty of games for 2025 and 2026. Like, we sort of know what's coming this year, and it's a matter of, like, will Gears Collection also be this year? Because everything else seems to be either next year or the year after that. So I wouldn't be worried about putting everything out this year and having nothing for next year.
So how about I quiz the both of you on
quiz? Okay.
On what is coming in 2024? I ran this graphic by Rand on the phone the other day that I kind of made up. I said that I've kind of made to put together and thought there's some big games coming in 2024, and I kind of covered this on my show on Monday. So I'll ask you guys because there's a couple small games like Replace is coming this year. What's the other small game that's coming? Rand from Xbox. Oh, Immortals 33. It's a cool little like top-down roguelite MMO or multiplayer game.
Towerborn supposed to be this year.
Towerborn supposed to be this year.
I'll go through the list and I want you guys to say yes or no.
So quick fire.
A quick fire, yes. I'll do this quickly.
Okay. All right.
Let's go.
If you're confident that it's very possible that these games could release in 2024.
All right.
All right. Avowed.
Yes.
Towerborn.
Yes.
Okay, so I think Rand is probably
Rand is no.
I'll land on yes.
Gears of War collection.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh man,
Cog.
I'm gonna say no until I hear. You know what? I need to see it to believe it. No disrespect, Special Nick. I love you.
I mean,
it's one of those things until I see it, I don't
No
believe
disrespect,
nothing.
but you're gonna
There's a chance it
disrespect
could
him anyway.
be announced but not released this year. Like
Yeah,
also
I'm
something
gonna
like
say
that,
no.
but-
okay.
I want to be proven wrong.
I mean, I'm
Okay.
teetering on the edge of Towerborn because I'm like, when are you gonna release it? You know, like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say yes for Gears Collection. Go ahead.
Okay.
Stalker 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, these two are tough. Oblivion remaster. I say no. I don't think that exists
No.
anymore.
I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
so.
I'm saying no.
Fallout 3 remaster. I'm gonna say I don't really know if it's really still going on.
I wouldn't say no.
I'm gonna say yes. I'll say
Okay.
yes on Fallout 3.
Okay.
Hold on.
Forza Horizon 6.
No.
Oh no, I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say
I'm
no.
gonna say yes.
Ooh.
Oh, you think they drop it? You think Playground?
I think it's ready. It's been 3 years, but
3
Rand's
years?
trepidation makes me think that somebody's been whispering into his
No,
little,
nobody's
little
been
tiny
whispering it.
earlobe.
I'm just saying I just don't
Uh,
I just don't see it, but we'll
Okay.
see.
Age of Mythology. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War or whatever
Yes.
it's called. Black Ops
yes.
6.
Yes.
That's what we here for. That's what we here for.
Contraband.
No.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, probably
I'm
say-
hearing people are testing the crap out of it,
Ooh.
so
I'm gonna
it must be
say-
close. I'm
Yeah,
thinking Contraband might make it like around this time next year, like early spring or whatever.
I'm gonna say no. Yeah, only because we get to that point where release cadence is so packed up now that
Well, I mean, you don't have any other choice. All these games have been delayed for 4 years. Like you got to release them sometime.
at some point.
As Matt Booty says, crap or get off the pot. He doesn't say that, but we'll be getting it. Starfield Shattered Space expansion,
Yes.
Yes.
Flight Simulator 2024,
Yes.
Yes.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so
Red, wait, hold. Red hesitated.
I mean,
Hold on.
according to Tom
Red
Warren,
hesitated.
according to Tom Warren, it's coming
Oh.
in December. December is pretty close to getting a delay to like
Can we-
March or something, you know?
can we
Yes.
sit on Indiana Jones for a second?
Sure.
Let's go.
Not literally, but
Let's go.
why the fudge? Excuse my language.
I know what you're gonna
Are
say.
you putting out one of your biggest games
It's December.
in the death month?
I know.
in
and
the
that-
post
bro, I am
Christmas-
with you. I am with you.
What?
Well, it's not
Either
post,
that
it's
game-
not post Christmas, it's post Thanksgiving, right? Like it's
Oh, it's post holiday spending season. Okay, it's where games go to die. I don't get. Here's my
I don't get
take.
it.
Indiana Jones they must really want to have that in 2024, but there's just something where they couldn't get it by November, so they
Right.
had to say, "Man, we really want to be here in 2024, so we're putting it in the ooh brother ooh month."
yeah, December's a little but there are Xbox games that have done extremely well in December, Colt.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm thinking of
High on Life.
High on
High
Life
on Life.
was
Did High on Life
massive
do
in
really
December.
well?
Yes, that was
It
like
sold really well, even
it
though
sold crazy.
it was
Gosh
like
dang,
the,
it was fun.
It was like the biggest like third-party Game Pass release of all time until Power World came out or whatever it
Correct.
was.
Correct.
And wasn't there a game that also just came out like December of this past year that actually did really well too?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to.
I haven't know.
I'm trying to think. Maybe Chat knows.
Chat,
Chat.
Chat, help us out.
was
What came
there
out
a
in December
game-
last year?
Was there a game that came out in December of this past year? Well, I mean, I guess Power World
Did
came
Guardians
out
of
in
the Galaxy come
January.
out in December, guys? I was trying to remember that one too.
Don't remember.
I want to say there was like 2 Decembers in a row where there were like two
Avatar,
Bigger
but that one
games.
failed. Yeah, Mav says.
Right.
that actually did really well, but I think Avatar didn't do. Yeah, I
Avatar
wasn't
did
thinking
not
of
do well.
Avatar. Maybe it really is just high on life.
Yeah. No, to add to your point, yeah, you're right, Rand, that there have been games that have done well. My selfishness is that I'm pulling for that game. I think that game is going to be really great with Machine Games and then also Todd's involvement. And I'm just upset that it would definitely be not qualify for a Game Awards nomination at that time.
Oh yeah,
And I'm tired
it's
of
not-
Xbox.
and it's not in the
being-
blockbuster season.
Yeah, like I'm tired of Xbox not having their titles aligned with that, because we have to admit that's something Sony does really well. They make sure they get in before those deadlines to be, part of those conversations. And I want to see a scenario where you have, at least 2 to 3 potential nominations, for a game of the year or something like that. I just, look, the game's gonna come out when it's ready, but it'd be one that I wouldn't be mad if it got this. If they need it one time, but we'll see what happens. December.
You
is a
wouldn't be mad
weird
if
month.
what?
I wouldn't be mad if it got delayed. Only because
at this point, I would rather it be delayed and be even better instead of trying to get the 2024.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, maybe Tom's sourcing is, maybe it's wrong. Maybe he's heard wrong, or maybe they push it forward. But then it's like you have Assassin's Creed Shadows already sitting there at November 15th. You figure like Indiana Jones at the beginning of December. November would be great, but also the rumor is you're launching the new COD at the end of October. And then, okay, when's the Valve going to be ready? When's Microsoft Flight? So it's like this is sort of a problem they could have where it's kind of all going to, the games are going to start launching next to each other. I guess I'll say I wouldn't be surprised if it did get delayed. Slightly.
You know what? F them. They've had me sit here and wait for 4 years for games they announced in 2020. They haven't had major blockbuster games outside of 2021 over really the past decade. So if they have to slam their games up against each other and hurt each other's sales and jam pack them into Game Pass, F them. That's their problem to deal with. Give me the games. I'm tired of waiting. And all you guys here who are watching the show, you want the games. And you know what? If you're here watching Rand's show, I bet you anything you get in those games, you marinated them, you hit them hard for 2 weeks. You get everything out of them, and you're ready for you put on the bib. I'm ready for my next game. And that's how we are. Sometimes we spend a month on a game, but sometimes we hit like a banger.
And if you're here, hit the like button. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, go over to Colt's channel, hit the subscribe button over there, follow him on Twitter. Same thing for Cog. Follow him on Twitter. Follow ILP. What? Maybe you could just easily move Indiana Jones to January. January always has huge games. Indiana Jones could, like January's like. I guess the rumor is like Resident Evil 9 is coming out there, but. Enough about Indiana Jones and stuff like that.
Yeah. What I was going to say was that we kind of collectively came up with about 8 games that we think are releasing from Showcase until now, and most of those were pretty big games outside of Towerborn. There was one last one.
Okay. What's up?
Doom Year Zero.
Not this year.
Ooh, I don't think so.
Tom Warren reported from The Verge.
Doom's going to be at the show.
That we're going to see Doom, but his report on his article said that he could see it releasing this year, and I'm like, that's a pretty bold statement. 2016 was shown in the summer and released the following May. I'm thinking Doom is next spring.
I'm thinking Doom is next year, but I do feel we will see it at the showcase. That's not to mention like Diablo 4's expansion they're going to have this year. World of Warcraft expansion. You mentioned the Shattered Space expansion.
Huge.
Those are all big things.
Sound like a lot of games to me.
Speaking of Doom, I got to hit everybody with some reality check. If you love Doom Eternal,
yes.
The crazy thing about Doom Eternal, we were all like hyped to play it. That game literally came out right at the beginning or right in the middle of the genesis of the global shutdown of COVID, if I remember correctly. Do you remember what month it released, Rand?
It was March because it released in March, and it was like the same day as Animal Crossing.
What part of March? Because I think it was like
March
9th.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, so it was like a week into everyone put on a mask. Wear a mask when you go on the drive-thru at McDonald's.
Damn. Yeah, those are the times, man.
Those were the times.
Those were the times. I have this question in chat I wanted to answer, because it'll get into our last topic that I wanted to really talk about. But Sebastian Cooper says, I really wish the panel would answer this question. Nobody wants to bring this up, but I'm just wondering, do you guys think Sony will be able to afford the marketing rights to Grand Theft Auto? Now, the reason I bring this up is because we finally got information yesterday that Take-Two, they came out and said that GTA 6 is going to be fall 2025.
Yes.
It's going to be fucking massive.
Oh, yeah.
I guess, like Sebastian's question, do you think Sony would be able to afford it? Because you would assume the marketing rights for Grand Theft Auto would be very much sought after, but also very expensive. And if I had to make a guess and put money down about who had marketing rights for it, I would say Sony probably has them. Sony's like they started off this whole generation with They opened up their showcase with Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, I remember that.
So like I wouldn't be surprised if that was who they would market it with.
And you combine that with the fact that, let's be honest, in order to really move units in a PS5 Pro, it would be an ideal pairing for them.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm curious on that. What that bag look like, because just to take two ain't gonna take no prisoners.
Well, maybe Microsoft's like, hey, you know what? Take your time, Rocksteady. Maybe you need to come out in 2026, closer to the launch of the new Xbox rather than the launch of
Rocksteady.
Or I meant Rockstar. Then the launch of the PS5
Rocksteady,
Pro.
by the way.
Yeah.
So
I see your thought process.
It's just Grand Theft Auto is going to be that release, just like Hogwarts Legacy, but on a bigger scale, where people buy consoles for it. Especially if everybody's still on last gen, like half the people. Grand Theft Auto is going to be that game.
You know what the best part about Grand Theft Auto is going to be for us, Rand?
What, playing it at 30 frames?
The PC guys bending the knee and buying a console because they won't wait.
It's funny because like
they'll bend that $600 knee and they'll play that 30 frames and they'll like it.
Our buddy Fon, Slow Mo, all the PC Master Race diehards.
Our buddy Zocker87, that fraud with his $6,000 PC.
Every single one of them will be on console playing Grand Theft Auto at 30 frames, and they'll be whining and 30 frames, doing this.
I had to turn my TV on true motion because I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it when all those guys are like, I'm just going to wait for the PC version while everyone is outside playing together. They'll be looking through the blinds like Squidward, like, oh, better go buy a console. That's going to be glorious.
So messy.
Hey, you know it's right? It
is funny. It is funny.
Yeah, Mav says nobody will wait on GTA.
Yep.
Man, I really hope. I mean, I expect it to be another world-changing, video game.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. That's my $200. Give me that from the back room at Costco game for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah. The other thing that they kind of revealed at this financial thing is that 2K is about to reveal a sequel to one of its biggest and most beloved franchises. So I'm going to ask you guys, what is that franchise? What game are they going to reveal from what franchise? You think it's Borderlands 4?
Yeah, I think so.
Cog, you agree with Code, or you think it could be something else?
Makes sense. It fits the description, as far as now that they've taken them back from what is it, Embracer since that deal went down or whatever.
Yeah, they've been all over.
Everyone's
had their hands on Gearbox.
Yeah, Gearbox is outside. I'm assuming Randy Pitchford and the crew will be ready. Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Tricks.
Why you had to go there? That is what he does it all the time.
I really liked that guy until some of the reports came out from. But for me, it's all about the games, all about playing Borderlands. I try not to look behind the curtain and see who's there. But I'm a big Borderlands fan.
NBA 2K. That was
what?
Funny. Oh, it's NBA 2K25. Yo, that's wild.
It shocks me that 2K24 was the highest selling game on the PlayStation. Man, that's like.
I mean, people love 2K.
Yeah, bro.
It's crazy. Like, I would think it would be Call of Duty or something else, and all year long, people just.
I know dudes like that. All they do every year, do 2K.
Hey, we got a friend.
$150 worth of VC. Yeah, we all got a friend.
Mm-hmm.
We got a friend.
Yeah, we all share a friend that does that. And I know many of them that every year, that 2K drop, that's a thing.
I was experiencing Cyberpunk for the first time, when it came out, and my buddy'd be like, come play some NBA 2K with me. I'm like, bro, no, I'm in the world. I'm getting my mind transformed from this huge open world games. Come shoot some baskets with us. I'm like, bro, you need to see something. You got a problem. Too much 2K.
Too much 2K, yeah. I guess for the franchise, like you said, Colt could be Borderlands 4. It could be Mafia.
Well, yeah, what else could it be?
There's a rumor that they're about to make a Mafia announcement. I did see that. Or a BioShock announcement. We know they're working on a BioShock game. So, I guess you got three things you could choose from.
Do you have faith in a BioShock, Mr. BioShock? I paid $200.
I
Do you
have
have faith in a BioShock without Ken Levine?
No, I have faith in Ken Levine to make BioShock in space, but I don't have faith in whoever's supposedly shepherding the new BioShock for 2K.
Are you going to pay $200 to your supposed good friend?
I would.
Is he going to ham hock you to get Judas for $200?
It's funny. I wouldn't have said good friend. He was just a friend I knew, a person. I wouldn't even. It's just a good friend.
Yeah, because when you say good friend, I'm like, damn, that boy cold hearted with you. I'm like, damn, that was a stick up. You want it? 200.
He's like, next time we go to Taco Bell, I got you, man.
$140 like extra on top, but it was worth every single penny. I'd do it all over again.
Do you still have his number? Because I want the next BioShock.
No, I don't have his number. I don't know.
I'm going halvesies for Cognito to play early.
We have a super chat here for Fonz, or not for Fonz, for Cog from Face 23 BKNY 1999.
What's up, Face?
At Lord Cog, Greenberg Hi-Fi Rush met all of our metrics. A year later, Tango gets shut down. I'm humming at you. Hum. I don't know. He added
maybe the hum.
He added it at
is,
you, so it's to you.
So maybe the hum is when I do the Starfield hum on people because people try to act like it wasn't a success. So I do the
Oh, okay.
Love it.
So maybe he's doing that because I'm a big Starfield. As far as the context, as far as what is it, Hi-Fi Rush? What is he asking about? The state of business?
I don't know. He's just saying, hey, they said Matt. What he said? He said Matt Booty, or he said Aaron Greenberg said Hi-Fi Rush met all metrics. A year later, Tango gets shut down. I'm humming at you. He says he's humming at you. I don't know.
Maybe he's humming at me because of Starfield. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. No one. I will say this on the record. If I haven't said it, I am not forgiving them for shutting down Tango. Like I'm very upset about that. And for me, who loves Japanese games and always support when they make strides there, that was their Japanese studio by proxy. So that broke my heart. And I'm a huge John Johannes fan. I interviewed him. I mean, to me, he was a rock star. He was the next one up, and to see what happened and how it went down. And then again, I don't know if the comments by Matt Booty were taken out of context, but when I see and again, Hi-Fi Rush is not a smaller game, but when I see the comments that say, "Hey, we want to foster an environment that produces these award-winning games." And I don't know if y'all saw on Twitter, the developer from Tango, one of the, I believe, studio directors, had all the awards of Hi-Fi Rush in his house. And he took a picture, and it was like, and he had a question like, not enough. That's heartbreaking, man. That's heartbreaking. So for me, look, I try to be fair. Corporate Cog tries to be fair and say, okay, you know what, Arcane Austin, you have a situation like Redfall. I could see a scenario where a studio could get shut down for that. I could see a situation like Alpha Dog where you go, okay, I believe they did Doom Mobile. You might see it as a redundancy when in terms of Xbox and King and their mobile division. Okay, I can kind of get that. And then the other one, what was it, Roundhouse or whatever? I kind of can understand. But Tango, that I can't forgive that one. And that one, if anyone, if Face or anybody want to give the smoke for that, that is fair. Like, nah, we can't do that, bro. Like that, if it was anything they could do to save that one, that's the one you save. And I'm the Ghostwire Tokyo guy. I thought that was an amazing first start of a franchise, and Hi-Fi Rush, man, I'm not even a rhythm game thing like that. I thought I wouldn't be into it. And I remember playing it, and they had a mascot. Chai and 808 was they were like a mascot, bro. Like, so yeah, I'm still reeling for them. So Face, that's fair.
I mean, is Hi-Fi done? You think that they would?
Yeah, it's a wrap, bro.
Just close it and not make another one?
It's a wrap, bro.
It's
a wrap.
I think so. Donataku with the 5. When Xbox didn't have games, the consumer-friendly brand image made up for it. Now Xbox has games, and fans are too concerned about the brand image.
That's a good point.
That's
a good point. That's a good point.
On Ecstasy, Meg and I, my co-host, middle-aged game guy, we often kind of poke fun at the Xbox song and dance that they do when they don't have games or when they're waiting on their delivery. They do a lot of dancing and a lot of smoke screens, a lot of nail polish, body wash, American Girl doll stuff, and it gets really irritating as a fan. Like, I'm here for the games. I'm not here for like the the flaming controller, feel the burn,
feel the burn.
And I really feel like it's a song and dance to make up for when they don't have games. And it's not just that. I say that because the fans get in an uproar because PlayStation will announce some really cool stuff. They'll have a big high market moment, or they're winning awards when Xbox literally is releasing nothing for 8 months at a time. And they've done that a couple times this generation alone. And it makes it even worse when everyone else is talking, not just PlayStation, everyone else is talking about games, talking about what they're doing, all their success. And Xbox is like, yeah, but we got nail polish because, the games aren't here yet. And I call it the song and dance because PlayStation outsells Xbox 5-1 this past quarter. Why? They've put out 0 games. PlayStation has literally put out 4 times the games to sell 5 times the consoles in the past quarter. Xbox has not put out games. And guess what? When we start to see Game Pass numbers go up and console sales go up, what is the deciding factor of why those numbers go up, Rand?
It's usually a game.
It's usually a game.
Or games.
And Xbox sitting here and going, we need to do better. We have a Excel spreadsheet that, we have so many games. What's that remind me of on a TV? We're gonna have so many things. We don't even know we have so many games. We don't even know what to do with them.
Yeah, they're all bumping up into one another. It's a good problem to have. It's a problem. So
yeah. So, but I think I'm tired of saying that we're getting out of the woods with that. But I think if you really believe, when we broke down those games, I know you couldn't see them. We were just saying the names. If you truly believe, hey man, at least 6 of those AAA big blockbuster games are coming out from now until the end of the year, like that's fantastic. That's more than Xbox has ever done. And then you're like, oh, those other big ones, well, those are probably coming out in the next months or the next year. So, Jared Jones, would you quit being such a dork? When Cole starts crying, this is what I love, Cog. This is what I absolutely love. They're either calling me a corporate shill or they're calling me a doom and gloomer, because no one can ever expect that a human being could feel disdain or celebrate the good or call Xbox out on what they're not doing right. And I've learned a lot over the past couple of years. It is so easy to say, you know what? That wasn't the right answer, Xbox. That wasn't the right choice. You don't double the price of Xbox Game Pass. Of Xbox Live. We're not going to stand for it. And I'm going to use my voice and followers to let you know it's not going to happen. And we turn that around in 8 hours. So yeah, I am going to call out Xbox when they don't do things right. And when they do, I'm going to celebrate it because I like this hobby. So yeah, anyway.
I feel you.
Man.
yeah, gamer by choice.
What was the original point of that?
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
the song and dance thing drives me crazy. Their hesitation.
You got a super
Sorry.
chat for you. So Cog got one from Face. Gamer by Choice has one for you for 5. Colt, with all due respect, you need to stay off social media and play more games. Gaming is more than just first-party games. I never run out of games.
First party is the least of what I play.
I mean, it would be the least of what anybody plays.
Yeah, I mean, I play a ton of games. I'm on Xbox all the time. But, I'm not always in this game room playing games. But yeah, I need to stop listening to social media because I feel like, hey, is that how everyone feels? But yeah, I play a ton of games. I play a lot. I mean, I put 300 hours into Starfield. Holy crap. Cog, I played like 50 hours of Fallout 4 when the update was coming in like 5 days or something. It was nuts. Yeah, I played so much. I'm playing all the time though, but yeah.
Yeah, you play games, bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got Super Panda with the 5. My Xbox still runs great and has fun games. No reason to fret business stuff. I'll miss both studios, but I don't play studios. Okay. But Tate Master Jujutsu with the 199. 10 years without a game of the year. Matt Booty is not good. Stop capping. I mean, was anybody capping?
We never said he was.
Matt Booty. I didn't hear any of that.
Again, I find it interesting for people who don't have skin in the game, or that's not their preferred platform, to impose on you how you're supposed to feel about your platform. I always find that interesting.
JD Gamer at the 99. All Xbox has to do is come out and say what they haven't for years, and that's we want to win. Say that, and you get there, and you get for the zeitgeist back, and then tell the people how you plan to win, and that with games.
You ain't like the FTC. Yeah. You ain't like his bars there. You sped him out of business. You wasn't feeling that.
That was the Matt Booty email. Nerds and Other Legends with the 10. I think more important than exclusivity is association with the brand. Microsoft and Xbox really don't advertise that a studio belongs or a game came from an Xbox family of studios. They don't spread the gospel. That'd be more like the marketing angle of everything. Mesclado with the 5. My idea that would save Xbox is this: make it exclusive to Game Pass for 1 year, then sell it on purchase on select platforms. Boom, game over. I think that's something they said they would never do, is release a Game Pass only game.
Yep.
Where you couldn't, because even Phil said Game Pass isn't the entire business. Like, they have the retail model where you can buy games digitally or at the store and all those sort of stuff. So I get what you're saying. Is like, well, if you really cared about Game Pass, only make it on Game Pass. But third parties wouldn't want that. You'd have to like really pay through the nose for it. I don't know. I get what you're saying about like that would definitely probably increase numbers, but I think a lot of people would shun their nose at that of like, oh, now you're taking away the fact that I can't own it now, right?
Yeah, that's why I get annoyed when people say that, Game Pass is unsustainable. Well, Game Pass isn't the be all end all of the business. That's like saying that the console is unsustainable. It's not the only way that Xbox is in the gaming business. They sell on PC. They sell their console games. They sell people through the subscription service. Like, if one thing doesn't make as much money as the other, like, that's all this push and pull. It's how you run a business. You have to have different revenue streams that can work in concert to make them money. And hopefully those numbers go up, because the last report wasn't very good with Activision Blizzard in there, but still early days.
Screen name went to 199. Find the Iran cast that won't put me to sleep.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, no.
Don't do that.
Oh, come on now.
Miss our jazz. Don't you do that.
Oh, man. That hurts. Enigmatic Dreams with the 2 says nobody would ever trust Microsoft products if they go third. Gamer by Choice, member for 53 months. Thank you. He says, people miss the point. It's about selling games and services. Xbox has made Sony distribute their games and services. Xbox doesn't want PlayStation dead. Not anymore, they don't. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He also says, PlayStation also in more markets than Xbox, so it's smart for Xbox to use PlayStation's distribution to sell games until they are in those markets.
They're bigger in more markets, but I've always wondered, versus Xbox network versus PSN, who's in more countries. I have no idea what those numbers are.
Yeah.
Because that's like one of the problems that PlayStation. Jim Ryan said in 2019, I think he was like, we want to do big things with PlayStation Plus and our services, and what do they call it? PlayStation Now and all that stuff. They want to do something more with that. He's like, we need to be in more countries and more markets before we go big. But I don't know how much of that they've grown. And Sony,
I think Sony has some huge investors meeting on May 23rd. That's being broadcasted.
Which I think that's about.
I don't know, but I did see Z Huge say that PlayStation has their own sort of meeting on like May 30th or something. Because like sure, PlayStation is going to be involved in that meeting, but obviously it's like Sony overall as a company. But I guess PlayStation has their own sort of meeting on May 30th. So I don't know. Who knows what they're going to say there? But I know that we've reached like 3 hours, and I know you guys. I know you're used to doing super long podcasts, Cog, but Colt is, very much like, hey, 2 hours, whatever. Yeah. So I figured I
had a little break when I picked up my kids, but it's been really, really fun.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. It flew by because I was having fun with the homies talking.
Cog and I kind of injected a personality and ran for today.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I hit him with the bland out thought. Don't do that to him.
Hey, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me, Mister. How'd you get that code?
I need that code immediately.
Yeah.
Do not redeem that code. I need you to send it to me immediately.
Martha.
Unbelievable. Well, thank you for injecting some personality in this podcast. So it wasn't just Randall Blandell Thor. It was fun times. Like the 3 hours. I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh my god, it's already 3 hours. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We flew.
But I know you guys got things to do. I know Cog's plan for tonight. He's got to get some gaming in. Colt's got a lot of
Yeah.
things he needs to do.
Yeah,
so.
this game I really
There's a
want to play.
game I
right
really
now.
want to play right now.
Oh, I wonder what that game would be. So, Cog,
How'd you get that code?
you got ILP on Sundays. I'm sure
Yes.
this Sunday is going to be an interesting one with King and Addict and Sav. You got any guests coming on by this one, or is
No
this-
guest this one.
No guests
Yeah,
this week, just the Lords.
Yeah. Just the Lords talking games every Sunday is the Lord's Day Iron Lords podcast on YouTube. Go check us out. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun topics, a lot of stuff we discussed here, and some other stuff as well. But always good to catch up with one of my favorite podcasts, the Xbox 2. Hope Jazz is doing all right. And Colt, the homie, get to see you hopefully in LA or something soon, maybe. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, it won't be
But,
long. It won't be long.
Nice,
Been
yeah.
really trying to get everybody all coordinated and taken care of, and it's got a couple other people I need to get accommodated so that they can go. But yeah, a lot of good stuff, and I'm really positive about the showcase. I'm really excited. From what I think will be there, what I could guess is going to be there. I'm going to sit back and enjoy it, and then come home and we can talk about what we're going to be playing like so soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year
fun.
once we get into the summer.
Absolutely.
More of my type of games coming out.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And then we got to drag Rand out one time. We got to drag him out.
We will. But I think
I'm coming back to Chicago. You got to get.
Yeah, I mean, I was at E3 in 2016, sir.
It's been a minute, sir.
yeah, bro, that was a decade ago. We got to work
Cog,
on it.
you
We'll
were
work
just
on it.
were just over at my house not that long ago.
That is true. That is true. I'm trying to get more people to see Red. Red come outside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I got to see Cog like just not long ago, where we were in a fourth dimensional time warp inside a parking garage and couldn't get out in my car.
You know what it felt like? What was that game Kojima made? It was PT. Like, you know how you you're stuck and you keep going through the same doors, and we couldn't escape a building. It was hilarious.
It was a parking
Hilarious
garage,
moment.
just like arrow up to the exit, it'd go up and it'd bring us back down and go in a circle and be a different level. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I would see an entrance and it would like zoom away from me. And
Bro,
we're like, we're going to die in here.
Yeah, we got
got a granola bar in the glove
Eastwood
box.
in this spot. In this spot. But it's gonna be fun seeing you and the homies, man.
Yeah.
But yo,
Yeah, it's gonna be
fun
good.
times, brother. And again, Rand, the homie, much appreciated on the invite.
Of course. And thanks to the one and only Colt Eastwood.
Yeah, shout out to your
YouTuber
chat. who-
extraordinaire, host of the XNC podcast Monday nights with the Mag.
I love the mag so much. Yeah, but I just have to give props to your chat. I recognize almost every name in here, and the people that hang out. Someone said earlier in the show they felt like they were sitting around a fireside around a campfire with their buddies.
I like that one. Yeah, I like
That means so much to us because I watch a lot of podcasts. When I'm sitting there, I feel like I'm in the family room with my friends talking about games. When just being in the chat, and I appreciate all of you guys for supporting Rand and
supporting
Jazz
all
when
of
he's
us.
not here.
ILP.
Yeah, we appreciate it a
Colt
lot.
Eastwood.
Much love. Facts.
So
Yeah, I got to have you on hang with Mag and I for an hour or two.
yeah, because I was just on
closer to
ILP
showcase.
on Sunday to talk about that stuff. So
Mhm.
it's time to do some Colt Eastwood and XNC.
And
Get
get
back
that
in the
camera, get that lens
Get that
like
camera ready to go.
shined
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Both of you guys are gonna try to be like, you play some Cyberpunk.
No, shut up. Well, you know what? Rand's handsome, guys. We need to get that camera on Randall Handsome and get him going.
Shit.
Get him going, man. We got to get him outside.
All right. Well,
Handsome
thank
Rand.
both of you for
Boys.
being here.
Likewise, everyone have a good one. I will talk with you.
All right, later, guys. Because I gotta get through all the rest of this
Pay the
stuff.
bills. Pay the bills, brother.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later.
All right, later.
All right. So we have let's see here. What do we got? We got www Snipes WW says, I was casual to Game Pass, now I play everything. I think that's something Microsoft wants people to actually kind of like do. Is like, hey, you play these games, now you're playing all these games. Supernova with the 5. All this impact for the Xbox brand and financial returns is caused by Game Pass. Simply change day one releases to 6 months or 1 year. But Supernova, what if they changed it to where if you wanted day one releases, you had to subscribe to Ultimate and you could no longer subscribe to like a lower tier? Would that be like okay for you and financial returns where everybody has to subscribe to the highest tier to get the max value? I wonder what you would think about that. Zaki with the $9.99. Keep up the good work. fellas. Rand just finished The Will of the Many. Very, very good book. Indeed, it was. Will of the Many was a great start to the Hierarchy trilogy. It was damn good. I'm glad you read it. Joseph with the 100 knock. I have no idea what that is, but thank you. Day one releases on PlayStation is good money for Microsoft, so they don't need remove day one from Game Pass. Just make money on both platforms. Hilson to Xbox 2 plus XNC plus ILP from Norway. Well, shout out to you in Norway. I'm over here in Chicago. Cog's over in New York, and Colt's in Washington, I believe. Dan Webb with the 10. Great show, guys. Looking forward to seeing what they bring at the showcase. Are you all excited for Furiosa? Film looks incredible. Makes me wish we had gotten a second Mad Max game. I never played the Mad Max game. I have it. I think someone sent it to me. It's in my backlog as a game I want to try at some point. I definitely will watch Furiosa because the last Mad Max movie was cinema. Obviously, I'm not going to go to the show for it, but I will watch it when it comes on, I can rent it or whatever. Echelon with 7 with the 10. Peace to you, 3 young brothers, and my sincere condolences to you and your family, Lord Cognito. Yes, I think Cog had a death in the family, so I'm sure, I think he saw all the well wishes in the chat as well as on Twitter. Meat Puppet 007 with the 10. Do you think we will see World of Warcraft on the Series X or S? Maybe in a few years. There's always been talk that they're going to do it, so I think they'll do it eventually. RDX Son of Fett. Pony's already down playing Hellblade 2. Sad. Activision new studio was made 2 years ago, I guess. Yeah, it wasn't like it was made yesterday. They've been working together for a little bit of time. Donataku, media when Bethesda Studios close, why would Xbox do this? Media when Activision Studio opens, Xbox had nothing to do with this. Hashtag Xbox tax. Why you gotta do that, Don? It does feel like that, doesn't it? Senior Bean with the 5. Did you guys see a new narrative just dropped? Apparently caught on Game Pass on day one is going to ruin the franchise. Worst deal in gaming, etc. Great show. I did not see this. I have seen some people flip and be like, well, of course they're going to put Call of Duty in Game Pass back when like the deal was closed in 2022. Now those same people are like, it's going to ruin everything. It's like, man, how quickly opinions change regarding some of this stuff. Oni with the 5. If only Xbox had some current-gen Avatar games. Instant, smaller, cheaper games. Devs don't even have to make characters, just a world to play in. Okay. Jay Foley with the 10. Hey, Rand, I think they should just do an add-on package tier for COD. Let us keep the ultimate price, but if you want all the CODs, we can pay for an add-on to our ultimate. I sort of feel like they want to keep it simple. I don't think they want to add a whole bunch of stuff like that. I know there are some places like Amazon will have like add-ons, like you can buy stars or you can buy AMC, and I think Apple does that too. So there is that in the subscription space, but in the gaming space there isn't. So it could be like, hey, here's $20 for Ultimate, but if you want Call of Duty, give us an extra $5. I'm not sure that would really fly, but I get what you're saying. Rodrigo Ballin with the 2. Rand's voice sounds like Jerry Seinfeld sometimes. Is that really true? Does that sound like Jerry Seinfeld? Interesting. Big Afroman with the 5. Colin ran Victory Lap saying, what happened with Tango? Was his proof Game Pass doesn't work after all? Don't you guys think it's too soon to tell? Yes, because you're assuming the reason they were shut down had to do with like the performance of Hi-Fi Rush in Game Pass or in sales, when there could be other reasons the studio was shut down. The only people that know the real reasons are the people that shut down the studio. Was it related to Hi-Fi Rush, or was there other reasons for it? Maybe we'll find out at some time. Maybe Jason Schreier will do some investigative journalism. But for now, people are obviously going to speak what they feel is their truth. And right now, people are going to use that as an indicator of like, I was right the whole time. So, yeah, not surprising. FBI agent with the $2. Is it me or is the Xbox showcase buzz lacking? I would say in comparison to last year, it probably is lacking because there's a lot of question marks about the Xbox brand this year with everything that's going on. The closure of the studios, the third-party games. People don't seem to be as excited as they were. So yeah, I do feel that the showcase buzz is a bit lacking. We got here. We have Mescalado with the 5. Lost in BS is a valid criticism of ACS, Assassin's Creed Shadows first Japanese Assassin's Creed, and Ubisoft punts on a monk protagonist to appeal to Western foreigners as a protagonist. Cynical savior trope play. Okay. Let's see. Brett says Borderlands 100% and Midnight Club 75%. I doubt it'll be Midnight Club, but there's a good chance it's Borderlands. Metal Macias with the $4.99. NFL 2K5 would have been king right now if EA didn't buy exclusive NFL rights. Yeah, we really do miss the competition in that space, even as someone who doesn't even play those games. We have Gaming by Choice. Colt, I have more games to play than time to play them, but maybe I play games differently. I put hundreds and thousands of hours in games I like. See, I don't. So you're a little bit different than me. Like, I usually beat a game and then I never play it again, unless I need to do another playthrough for whatever reasons. The game I have the most playtime in recently, this past 2 generations, is PUBG, and that's a multiplayer game designed to get you to replay stuff. But something like Stellar Blade, which I had 40 hours in and I beat, I'll never play Stellar Blade again. But I know some people are different, and maybe they'll play Stellar Blade for 200 hours, but that's not me. Chris Actual with the 10. I've been with Xbox for 20 years. This is the first time I'm doubting Xbox. I don't understand how Microsoft making all games multi-platform keeps Xbox and especially Game Pass sales up. Much love to all of you. That is the question everybody's kind of trying to figure out within themselves of like, what are you doing? Supernova with the 2. Like EA or Ubisoft, highest tier equals day one releases. I think that's probably what they're going to do, if I had to guess. Andre with the 5. Just a reminder for you to play Outer Wilds, Rand. Have a great weekend, everybody. It's still on my list. I have it downloaded. So I will get to it at some point, even though I'm a slowpoke because I only really play one game at a time. So yeah, those are all the super chats. I want to thank everybody, for being here. It was great to have, Colt and Cog on the show. Because, they're my buddies. I talk to them every single day, pretty much. So it's almost like we're having our phone conversations or party chat conversations in the podcast. But we do also have the wonderful members of the Patreon. So I will read some of the questions there. And after we're done with that, it'll be the end of the show. So I don't know how many questions we have because I haven't looked at this. And I think Jez put it up late. So we'll get to it. But yeah, you can subscribe to Patreon at patreon.com/XB2. Links in the description. Also, if you're looking for some Manscaped products, you can use our code XB2 at manscaped.com for 20% off. That code's always good. So appreciate anybody that goes and buys any of that stuff to support us. We have Omen. Happy Friday. If this year's Call of Duty were to year drop Xbox One, PS4 support, do you think most of the Xbox One users would switch to an Xbox Series console over a PS5? Personally, I would worry that forcing console upgrades with COD might actually cause Xbox to lose even market share. Thoughts? I mean, that is a good way to get people to upgrade if they want to play the new COD. Warzone's still going to be on last gen, so maybe some people are Warzone players and they're not COD players, like the new physical release. It is an interesting thing. Like, you could say, okay, we're going to upgrade, but and I'm an Xbox One user, and I'm going to upgrade to the PlayStation instead of the Xbox. I guess that could be a worry. But if you're someone who probably only plays Call of Duty, maybe you don't know about what's going on. Maybe you don't even care about what's going on. So that's on Microsoft's marketing. They need to let people know. But I don't I don't know. I'm not sure they're even dropping last gen. So this is a moot question until we find out, really. Eric Gregory. Hello, gentlemen. Thinking about what Rand was talking about with the subject of how many people will keep their Xbox by the time next generation comes around. I know among my friend groups on Xbox, they are talking about leaving for PC by the time next generation drops. Do you think that Xbox likeness has eroded too much in the console space? I mean, you can tell their sales are dropping even compared to the Xbox One. So there is that. I know more and more people are going to PC. Maybe Xbox doesn't mind as much because you can still buy their games there. I don't know. We'll see what happens the rest of the year regarding their sales and what COD does or doesn't do for Game Pass and their hardware. Maybe the hardware just constantly just falling off a cliff and they can't ever, get it back up again. And, when you get to a new console in 2026, like the rumor suggests, how many does that come out selling? What is the price point of that? Those are all questions that I have. And, I'm not paid billions of dollars or thousands of dollars to determine that stuff. I don't know. It's all super interesting to me to see how Microsoft is going to try to stop this bleeding. It's also like, bro, so many people were worried that Xbox was going to be a monopoly. Just like 8 months ago, a year ago, Xbox was going to dominate the entire video game industry. There was people legit out there putting those thoughts, like they were scared out of their mind that this was going to happen. And now they're like, Xbox is dead and about to leave the business. Like, how do we get to being a monopoly to essentially getting out of everything? How do we speed run this? We have Monkey vs. Tramps. Happy Austin 316 episode, guys. If you could give a stunner to anyone, who would it be? Also, are you going to watch the Fury versus Usyk fight tomorrow? I am not. I don't know if that's boxing or MMA. I don't even know. If I could give a stunner to anybody, I would give a stunner to... I give a stunner to Jez. Out of nowhere, I'd be at E3, I'd come up on him, and I just would give him that stunner. I think that would be... Because they're trying to think of, like, would I give it to someone I really dislike? But no, it'll be to Jez, like a stunner. Here you go, Jez. Eat this. Silas, hello, Rand and Jez wannabes. If everyone could be Jez Corden for a day, what would you do? Oh, dude, I don't even know. I would hit up all of the sources that he has and try to get a picture of everything that's going on. I'd want to be like, okay, give me all this inside information. That's what I would do. I would like look at his DMs, find out who his sources are and stuff. That would be me. Laser Wolf, could Xbox learn from Sega on how to make games faster? They're doubling down on their bestsellers by reusing assets in a way no other publisher seems to get away with. Persona games reuse the same animations and Personas. Like a Dragon reuses location assets and animations. Even Unicorn Overload reused voice lines from Like a Dragon. Yeah, I did say they were going to make some of those games annual franchises. But sometimes you got to worry if the quality is going to decline and eventually sales will drop. I guess it depends if Xbox sees a future in some of those franchises. Like, personally, I wouldn't want them to do it. That's part of the reason I was always like, let Gears breathe a little bit. Because you were getting to Gears in 2006 and 2008 and 2011 and 2013 and the Ultimate in 2015 and Gears 4 in 2016 and Gears 5 in 2019. You couldn't miss Gears. So I'm actually happy they've taken all the time in the world to refresh and rethink maybe what they want to do. Because by the time we get it either next year or the year after, it had been 7 or 6 years. And actually, I'm at the point now where I'm like, I could go for another Gears game. I'm not sure, like, oh, we're going to have a Gears 6 in 2026, and then Gears 7 in 2027, and then Gears 8. That would just kind of turn me off of the franchise. if you're constantly getting it like that. Maybe it works for Sega and some of their franchises, but I don't know if it works for everything. I'd rather have a nice gap, like, you know. But that's just me. Maybe others are like, I love the fact that we're going to get Persona and all this stuff all the time, or the Like a Dragon games. I always see it on Twitter. People are always excited about those releases. So I guess it's, you know, different strokes for different folks, essentially. What we got here? We got Ford a Brand. Says, hello, gents. I just wanted to start by saying my name is Ford a Brand. Okay. People in the Discord server think it's Ford a Brand. I think that's kind of what I said. It's Ford a Brand. Okay. I just wanted to ask how you think Xbox can pull itself away from this PR nightmare they're experiencing. Does another business update need to occur with Hood and Nadella present? Or should Phil, Matt, and Sarah just stay quiet since things seems to be out of their control? Thanks, and I hope you have a great Friday, guys. Well, I mean, you're going to have to showcase. You're probably going to have an interview with Phil. I don't know what's going to be said. I don't know what Ryan's going to ask him. Do you need to do another update? I mean, maybe not unless you're 100% sure, like, this is what we're doing. Like, all of our games are day one, or all of our games are exclusive to our platform, or all of our games are coming to PlayStation a year later. I don't think you need Satya and Amy there because they're not gamers. That's what Phil and all those them are for. But honestly, I've said this on the podcast for a while. Phil and Xbox just need to be quiet. They just need to move like PlayStation and Nintendo do, and only speak when they have something to actually say. Let your games do all the talking now, right? I know you were the challenger brand. You were beaten down, so they kind of buddied up with the community. But I think because of the way business has gone, they've said things that no longer hold true. So every one of their quotes gets thrown back in their face because what was true in 2020 isn't true anymore in 2024. And I don't think it's helping. People are constantly just sneering at Xbox or anytime they say anything. I mean, look at the announcement about the new studio. People were making fun of it. People were downright downplaying it, saying how long till it closes and all those things. Even journalists were kind of being snarky about it. You know, at that point, you've kind of lost that battle, and maybe it's not even best to engage. You know, Sarah Bond gives an interview with Bloomberg, answers some questions, but the one question that sort of really mattered, at least to a lot of us, was, hey, why'd you shut down Tango? A really innocuous, simple question that, you know, has a simple answer, really, or at least an answer that you could convey. It was like word salad, word soup. And it just made people more frustrated because they didn't really get an answer. And so they sort of feel lied to, kind of led astray a little bit. So for me, I'd just be like, you just need to just go away. Do your business behind closed doors. Do your deals. The media is not your friend. They will never be your friend. Doesn't matter who you talk to. People are going to take whatever things you say and spin it up in whatever context they want, as we talked about earlier in the show. So you just need to be like PlayStation and Nintendo and only talk when you need to, and don't bother with the media as much as you have. Batman Beyond says, hey Rand, please talk about how awesome X-Men 97 is. X-Men 97 is amazing. I binged it over the weekend in preparation for the final episode, and it is so freaking good. It's probably the best Marvel content since maybe Endgame or Infinity War or like Winter Soldier, because I think a lot of the Marvel content since Endgame has really been subpar and lackluster, outside of maybe like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But watching this, like, you got the nostalgia because I used to watch the TV show as a kid on Saturday mornings, and it was just really damn good. So if you haven't watched X-Men 97, do yourself a favor and do so, especially if you like the X-Men or you're interested in that type of content, because it's fantastic. Book and Beard says, the new Snapdragon and Mac M4 benchmarks we've seen are impressive, but the gaming performance on them doesn't come close to what we have on consoles. With Windows and ARM being a big focus for Microsoft next week at Build, do you expect to see GPU manufacturers make new cards specifically for those machines? Are we more likely to see expensive SoCs that run hotter from companies like NVIDIA and AMD? Or is this the dream of ARM-based gaming still a couple generations out? That seems like a question for Jez. I don't know anything about this. So make sure you ask this next week in addition to whatever other question you want to ask, because I can't honestly answer this question because I just don't know. I wouldn't even have an opinion on it because that's not anything I really think about or even look at. So I have no idea. Butterball 8 says, hey Rand and Lord Beefy, hope everything's going well. Do you think the Game Pass ad tier will be announced in the near future? And what do you think about the new handheld possibly being powered by ARM? I think I don't know. I think the handheld, I don't know what they're going to do with the handheld. But as far as the Game Pass ad tier, I think maybe it's too early for that. I think maybe you do an ad tier after you get Call of Duty, maybe next year, the year after, or when you have your streaming stuff all really set up and aligned to go. I don't think it's going to be the new tier that's being added personally. But I do think it'll probably come eventually. And I don't even think this new tier that I've talked about is going to even be announced at the showcase. I think it'll be later on, like after summertime, maybe like early fall, maybe like July, August, September timeframe. Achievement says, do you think Stellar Blade sold any PlayStation 5s? Like, probably, I would say probably not. But not every exclusive game needs to actually sell consoles. You just need to make a game for the people that own the consoles. So I would say if it sold any PlayStation 5s, it's a very, very minuscule amount. Lewis Aldris says, happy Friday. Hope your week has been amazing, Rand. Mine ended on a down note, but at least I have my favorite podcast to keep me company. Now that Jez isn't here, we can finally talk about books that aren't coloring in books. Have you read either The Jade Shards or Jade Settler of Janalan novellas from the Green Bone Saga? If not, I highly recommend them. They are fantastic. I have not read either of the novellas from the Green Bone Saga. Maybe I'll get to them at some point. I also wasn't the biggest fan of the Jane Bone Saga or the Green Bone Saga. I had some issues with Jade Legacy. I still enjoyed the books, don't get me wrong, but people had hyped that trilogy up to me as like the next coming of Jesus and the greatest thing like since sliced bread. And maybe I had my expectations so high, but it just didn't reach those levels for me. But I have not read the novellas. Just James. Hello, random guest. Now Jez is gone. The show will go on. My question to ask all of you is, what game did you just hunt for achievements and didn't enjoy the game? I know Rand really loved the Barbie games. I mean, although there's plenty of them. You can look through my card. There are plenty of games I played strictly for achievements. There's too many to mention. But yeah, Colt and Cog aren't here to answer that. Any of the family games, like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or any of that stuff, all strictly was for achievements. Yeah, I'm sometimes I think back on that. I mean, a lot of Connect games, like the dancing games, like High School Musical. I think I even did some High School Musical games with a mic, like one of those like actual mics you sing into, because they were easy to get 1,000. Like, I was literally, for like the High School Musical games, I literally had the mic and I put it in front of the speakers and the game would just give you 100%. So it was just, I was just holding the mic in front of the speakers. And anytime I wouldn't get 100%, I would like bitch and be like, God damn it. And I only made sure to actually play those type of games when nobody was around, right? Because I was like, I didn't want people to see I was doing this. I was ashamed. Or any like the Connect dancing games either. Yeah, I don't think back too fondly on those. Dave Ramos, Hey, Rand, I haven't read a book since Michael Crichton's Timeline, which I loved. Hearing you talk about books you've read, I've become more interested than I've been to read a book in more than 20 years. Could you recommend a book for a non-reader looking to dip their toes back in the water? I'm about to go on a week-long trip to India with long flights and would use this as an opportunity to dive in, to test if my interest in reading has changed. P.S. Every week you and Jez bring level coverage to the gaming space, and nearly every week there's a fan sharing their thanks. Add me to the list. Thanks, gentlemen. Keep doing you. It's great. Well, thank you, Dave. And I will recommend the same book I recommend to everybody who asks me this question, because everybody I've recommended it to has told me they loved it. People who don't read, so I think they really fit the mold that you're in. Pick up Project Hail Mary from Andy Weir. He's the author of The Martian. This was his next book. Came out a couple years ago. They're actually making it a movie with the directors of, like, I think Across the Spider-Verse, or it's like Lord and Miller are the directors, and Ryan Gosling is going to be in it. But everybody I've recommended to has loved Project Hail Mary. So that would be the one I would recommend. I think you'd probably really love it. And I wouldn't be surprised if you finished it on your flight home. Once you start, if you really get into it, you will not be able to put it down. It's science fiction, but it's so good. So that's the book I would recommend. Good old Collinwood. Hello, Rand and company. So we know that Stalker 2 is coming out later this year with an exclusivity contract on Game Pass of 3 months. Given a recent event of Square Enix pivoting to a multi-platform strategy, is there still worth in this exclusivity? Are we looking at the final temporary non-first-party exclusive game on Xbox? That is an interesting question. And that contract we know of was a couple years ago. There's every possibility that the exclusivity for that game is longer than 3 months. And even if it's only 3 months, that doesn't necessarily say or mean that they'll have a PlayStation version ready after 3 months. You know, they're going through a lot with that game. So who knows when another version of that game actually appears. I guess it depends if Xbox still sees value in getting exclusives like that. Or if it's like, it doesn't matter if it's also on PlayStation, we would just want it on Game Pass. I wonder if they've changed it where it was like, hey, we'll be exclusive to Xbox if we go into Game Pass. Is that something they're still willing to pay for? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Because I'm trying to think. Like, Flintlock is multi-platform. I think Replaced is just Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that's an example of that. Planet Alana just came out from them. Thunderful a year ago on Xbox, and then it was 6 months later on PlayStation or whatever it was. So those could be older deals. I guess only time will tell if we see similar stuff where there's exclusive to Xbox and Game Pass and it eventually comes to other platforms. Governor Grimm. So what do you make of the rumored tiers for Game Pass? Also, repeated my question from Xbox 2+1 since Cog and Colt are here. Well, they're not here anymore. Do you guys think Xbox will provide a clear message about the platform going forward at the show? Or will they let confusion about the platform future continue? Cog, I'm not hitting you with that. With any let me play with your joystick slander, but tell King Lord Attic and the Mustard Hearts are outside at the gates. Well, they're not here anymore because it's a long show. The rumored tiers, I mean, it could be the ad tier, but I don't think it is. Maybe it's a restructuring of one of the current tiers to remove, like, day and date games. So they could be like, all right, if you want Call of Duty and any day and date games we have, it's in Game Pass. It's an Ultimate, right? And make Ultimate the tier where if you want day and date games, that's the one you got to pay for to move everybody who is still left on the lower tiers into an upper one. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like a new tier, like replacing an existing one, or maybe it's a higher tier than Ultimate. I mean, I guess there's a lot of different options, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a tier that didn't have day one games in it and everybody kind of had to move into Ultimate to be able to get those stuff because of price hikes, and you're adding Call of Duty, right? And Hugh, hello, Rand and guests. Despite the recent studio closures, do you think Xbox may still surprise us by opening more studios under Xbox, Bethesda, and ABK, just like Elsewhere, which was just announced? I mean, if you would have asked this before Elsewhere was announced, I would have said no, but clearly they were doing that, so it's still possible. I mean, Bethesda just shut down 4 studios, so maybe they don't start any new ones up. And I don't know. I can't really see Xbox starting a new studio up either. So I'm going to say no for the foreseeable future on those. But I could be wrong. I would have said no before this week started, and then, they dropped the ABK thing. So, yeah. And let's see. We got Down Taku. What's up, Rand? Since Jez isn't here, you're officially the biggest Pokemon fan on the panel. Now I have an ultimatum for you. You have the choice of beating 3 mainline Pokemon games or doing a weekly Nintendo podcast for a year. Which which opportunity would you take? So beat 3 mainland Pokemon games or doing a weekly Pokemon show. How long is the show? An hour? That'd be 52 hours. Because now I got to get into the hours. How long will 3 mainland Pokemon games take me to play versus how long is a weekly Pokemon podcast? 52 weeks a year. I guess if it was less time than beating those 3 games, then I would choose the podcast versus the games. Because I said Pokemon games, aren't they on the longer end? Even if each one was 20, that's still 60. So if we're doing an hour Pokemon show, I would probably choose that because it would be less time than actually playing the games. So, yeah. I don't know. Jetsprite with the $2.99. Surprised Hellblade 2 didn't have paid early access. I'm not. I mean, usually you see games that have paid early access that have an expansion to sell, like Starfield or like Forza Horizon, something to actually give you extra content. And as far as we know, like Hellblade 2 doesn't have any expansions. So that's sort of tough to really sell just early access because they want to give you something for the money plus the early access. So I'm not surprised that it didn't have early access. But anyways, yeah. That is I think that's the show. We got a lot done, and it was really cool to hang with my buddies Colt and Lord Cognito. Jez will be back sometime next week because he's away at a studio visit, and we'll see if we can do an Xbox Ultimate this week, or maybe we'll save that for the week after. We're working on guests for after the showcase, who we want to talk to see how we feeling about everything, right? But yeah, we'll be back next Friday, episode 317. Jez will be back. And yeah, I want to thank everybody for being here all this time, hanging out with us. You're awesome. We love you. And I hope you have a great weekend. Read some books, watch some TV shows. I got to start Shogun. That is something I've been kind of meaning to do, even though I just ran through X-Men 97. I got to watch Invincible Season 2. Everybody's trying to get me to watch Baby Reindeer. The Ghostbusters movie is available to rent, and I kind of want to watch that. I did rent the Late Night with the Devil, which I rented that, and just surprised me. I thought it was really cool. So I got some TV and movie stuff I need to watch. I got Hellblade 2 to play. I got books to read, so I'm all set. But thank you guys so much for staying here with me. Have a great weekend, guys. And yeah, keep it gaming, everybody. Later.